Good evening, folks. Thank you for joining us here at twitch.tv/Virtue Gaming Live. We are gathered here tonight for the Victoris Triumph Series Week 6. Our boys on VG Ambition will be taking on the Ohio State. Both squads currently sitting at 3-1. This match will separate third place from fourth with only 3 weeks to go until playoffs. My name is Chris Crewman Newman. Joining me for tonight's cast is Magnum Buck. What's the game plan tonight, Buck? What are we doing?
Oh, the game plan is to see a great game. That is the plan. And I'm sure that we are in for that one. You know, the top four have pretty much separated themselves, and both these teams have only lost to the same exact team. Otherwise, they are both cruising how it goes.
Okay, that is definitely exciting stuff. The head-to-head then becomes even more important, right? When you have such a similar win-loss, especially when your one defeat is to the same team like that, you're going to need any little edge that you can get over your rival in the standings there. So Ambition looks like we're going to be starting out on the red side here tonight, Buck. And it's going to be our opponents over here on the blue side, Ohio State, taking blue side for game number 1 here. So blue side, of course, usually lauded as the more favorable side. You know, most people prefer to play on blue, but red side, we do have that counter pick opportunity. You expect our VG Ambition boys to probably save that for Ginger up there in the top lane, or do you think we might have something else that's a little bit spicy in store?
You know, Ginger's got some really good picks that he can be pulling out there, but I wouldn't sleep on Chapanya fan getting that counter pick in the mid lane as well. It really just depends on how the drafts go, the band's going. If you can get some of those strong early game champions, the mages, the Akali is big for Chapanya fan as well.
Okay.
He likes that one. So if you can get that one sitting in R2 kind of thing, R1, R2, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, or even, maybe potentially saving the Akali for a little bit later on. I think Akali, I mean, she is somewhat of a priority pick. I think maybe not really as high priority as she has been at some points in the past, and does have some pretty rough matchups as well. But, if Chapanya fan is feeling it tonight, maybe we see the early rotation of Kali. That would definitely be exciting. I do think we are going to be getting into draft pretty shortly here, Buck. But are there any other champion picks or any other players to watch? Are you familiar with Ohio State at all, or any of these players?
I am not familiar with Ohio State, but I'm slightly familiar with VG Ambition here. But the Ohio State, they carry a lot of weight with their name, whether they're in esports, football, basketball, all of the above. So I'm expecting big things from them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit of a big ticket name to be having here in the Victoris League. And it'll be exciting to see what they're going to be bringing to the Rift tonight. We are into the draft now, guys, waiting to see what these first few bans are going to be looking like. Looks like Zoe to start us off here.
Yeah, that one's a sneaky little one of Chapanya fans there that I have seen in the past season or two ago. He was maining Zoe pretty much exclusively, it felt. But still seeing the respect ban here as that can become a monster. And then we're going to go ahead and we see the Graves coming out from the other side. Definitely top lane Graves, man. Top lane Graves. That's all I got.
He's just tearing up the meta right now, honestly. Everybody's picking Graves in all kinds of positions. It's a bit obnoxious, to be honest. And he's got all of these different weird builds he's going for. Why are people building Gore Drinker on Graves now, by the way? Do you know? Because I still don't get it.
Gore Drinker on Graves. I mean, it goes along with the Hull Breaker, right? I mean, as soon as you're going to get the Hull Breaker, now all of a sudden you have the healings, you're tanky. The healing becomes actually measurable, and at some points it becomes more measurable than shield bow. Jeez, I couldn't think of it.
Just becomes extremely measurable. Yes, I know exactly what you mean there, Buck. But we won't have to worry about measuring any of that stuff this game. Graves is going to be sitting on the ban bench there, as well as the horse, who has, of course, been rising in priority across basically all major regions. But he's also going to get banned away here for game number 1, as well as the Thresh coming out from our boys here on Ambition. And the Gwen and the Lulu going to be removed by Ohio State. Zeri left up, though. And we know that early rotation AD carry is so popular. And this is Zeri. Her Bruiser build was slightly nerfed, but the champion is still extraordinarily strong. Jinx will be the response, as well as the Bard.
The Bard
Jinx
pick.
Bard. Wow. Hawkster pulling out the Bard. Is this a favorite for Hawkster here? Or is this some new tech?
I don't know if I've seen Hawkster being playing a lot of Bard. Bard obviously takes a lot of skill to play, and a lot of skill expression can be made on Bard. There's a lot that separates a good from a bad Bard. So I'm super hoping
Yeah,
that he's
yeah,
played a lot
definitely.
on it. But I'm really interested that these ADC picks. It's such an interest. You have the Nautilus on one side, also looking for roams necessarily, but the fight in the bot lane is going to be mostly dictated at this point by the jungler. But Nautilus has full prio over Bard level 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Nautilus is going to be very threatening with those dredge lines, looking to engage on one of these squishy bot laners for ambition. Volibear locked it here as well. Buck means that is, I mean, he's an extremely powerful early game jungler. There's a lot of different looks that BioGamer could go for here. Volibear is extremely powerful in early invades, but also this bottom lane, as you already pointed out, Nautilus has such great setup for something like a Volibear to just run in there, land that follow-up CC, and get down all of that burst damage early on in the game. So we'll have to
Yeah,
see what the rest of the compositions are rounded out with.
yeah.
But Jinx and Bard could have a little bit of a target on their back here.
Yeah, Jinx and Bard have a little bit of a target on their back, but they do have an Ari set up for them, and they're going to get a little bit of help in the Vigar band. Not going to be there uh, running down there with Predator to fight them. But the Ari being able to roam down there is going to be huge early on, especially as you hit level 6. Ari will provide so much pressure onto the Zeri, especially with the 12-4 nerfs that have come on to her.
Yeah, Zeri, of course. The one sort of big weakness that everybody likes to talk about is the early laning phase there. So if Trapani fans able to find a nice roam right after hitting that level 6 mark, then it could look extremely good. Bard here should potentially have some setup as well with the Q, with the ultimate. But we'll have to wait and see what the mid lane pick is going to be here for Ohio State, because Trapani fan, of course, would need some form of priority in the mid lane if he was looking to make that roam happen. We are finished up with our second phase of bans here now, guys. It is the mid lane focus. You already mentioned the Veigar ban. It's going to be Corki taken off the table as well. Top laners removed by Ohio State, the Jace and the Vladimir. Both top laners still need to get locked in. It's going to be the Trundle now, presumably for Captor in the jungle, although I do like this pick, Buck, because it is a little bit of a flex.
That it is, and it works well. And even into, surprisingly enough, the Nautilus it works well into, but the Volibear definitely takes Volibear's tower diving. If he can be tracking that Volibear and finding where he is, Captor can really turn some of those dives into absolute wins for the side of EG.
Yeah, the Trundle. I talked already about the early game dueling prowess of the Volibear there, but Trundle is no slouch himself. It's actually very close between these two junglers who actually wins out in a 1v1 in the early game. Both extremely powerful, have a lot of tools to work with, especially in those first few minutes. Gangplank locked away for the top side here for Moo Cub, and then the Zillion into the mid lane for Hunt for Value. So this is not a pick that I think we should be expecting to get too much priority, Buck, into Chapanya's Ari here. Now,
Yeah,
the
no.
last pick for Ambition, what's it going to be?
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's going to be the Nunu. But as we sit here and wait these 5 seconds out, that Zillion pick, such a good pick for late game. It just gets to scale, scale, scale. All of a sudden, you get 2 revives all in team fights late game. Definitely gives Gangplank even more priority. And but nonetheless, the Wukong's coming out as that final pick up there in the top lane, possibly in the jungle. Captor's kind of sitting on it, but I don't think it's going to be in the jungle. The
Yeah.
Wukong is just insanely powerful early game. Win lane, win game is kind of the Wukong saying, and you can do that into Gangplank.
Yeah, well, it does depend on the matchup a little bit, I think. But yeah, the Wukong definitely, once he hits level 6 especially, has a lot of kill threat there. I do expect the Wukong to be going into the top lane. They're doing a lot of
I'm
swapping
sitting there,
right
I'm like,
now. Yeah,
hard
our boys
focus.
over here on Ambition trying to play some mind games with the opponents. We'll see if those games were effective as we are loading into the actual game right after this 3-minute spectator delay here, guys. We got some interesting lanes here. This Volibear Trundle in the jungle, extremely volatile. Mid lane, both of the mid laners have a little bit of setup as well. Both of the bot lanes have some setup. there's a lot of potential for both of these squads. Buck, do you think there's going to be some early action somewhere?
Do I think? I know there's going to be some early action. It
Where's the
just
early
depends on
action?
where. There is action to be had in every single lane. Gangplank wants to
Yeah.
fight early. Wukong wants to fight early. Trundle and Volibear both want to, obviously. It depend. I'll be interested to see how they're going to start their clears and whether they're going to go for a 3 camp clear, 5 camp clear, or get to the 6 camp clear. Depending on how they're feeling, I doubt that one's going to happen. But it's really, I'm thinking that bot lane and that top lane, mid lane might look for something, but Ari's rather slippery with her W early on, and Zillion also with his E. So there may be a opportunity for ganks, but we'll see if the mid lane turns and gets pushed in one way or the other.
Yeah, it'll be really, really interesting to watch because, like we said, so much setup. So it's going to be really critical maintaining vision, especially in mid lane. You know, it's so important. You have to maintain vision on both sides of the lane there. You have to play appropriately, respectfully to where the enemy jungler could be. Both of these junglers so threatening right from level 2 here. So
Yeah.
yeah, really, really exciting stuff.
You're talking about
Uh,
vision.
Go ahead.
Not to interrupt you, but Fluxetine is actually the leading vision score per minute in Virtuous League currently. So he's definitely put down a lot of vision. I don't know how much of that is coming early versus late, but that'll definitely be something that Hawkster needs to play into to be be aware of that. There will be a lot of vision coming down from that Nautilus.
Okay, definitely something to watch out for. Good heads up there, Buck. But before we get into the game here, before we finish up our spectator delay, do you favor one of these compositions overall? Do you think one of these teams actually won Champion Select?
If I have to say, unfortunately, I got to go with OSU. The Ohio State made the best draft currently. I love the Zillion. The Zeri, still a very strong pick. The Nautilus is good for roams and good for lane. Gangplank's going to become a monster late game. Volibear with the early prio. Uh, Honestly, it's for me on the VG, it's the Bard. I have a very big place in my heart for Bard, but Bard just
Okay.
does not feel good into a lot of those champions.
Well, folks, we will see if Fan and Hawkster, if they're able to roam around the map, get that tempo advantage, and take home a victory before the scaling for Ohio State really comes online here. We'll have game 1 of tonight's best of 3 right after this short break.
To hold our heads up high and beat the drums, do what we love. Risk the fall, or we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A soul ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last strike. Hearing voices from afar, join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call?
Welcome back, guys. On to Summoner's Rift for game 1 of the night. Once again, our virtuous, ambitious boys over here on the red side and the Ohio State over there on blue. But we shall see if we are going to get any of that level 1 spice Any runes or summoner spells jumping out at you right off the back of your buck?
You know, I would love to tell you I could see them, but I can't see too many of them. The Guardian on the Bard. There we go. It cleared up for me. We got that Guardian on the Bard. I do like that little bit of a tech necessarily. It's kind of standard, but anymore, you don't know what's standard on Bard. At least I don't.
Yeah, it's one of those champions, right, that could run like most of the runes in the game relatively effectively. As you looking for an early Q there.
The Bard taunts, of course. The Gangplank first strike. I haven't seen a Gangplank as of recently, but usually they're going Grasp, especially into a matchup as hardy as Wukong.
Yeah, the first strike is kind of the new wave. It is pretty common these days on the Plank.
Right.
He's able to utilize it in a relatively similar way to what he was doing with the Grasp before. Just instead of that little bit of health regen, you get a little bit of money instead, basically, and a little bit of extra damage. So, yeah, it works in somewhat of a similar way, and it does also scale much, much better into the later game, especially when you see those crit plank builds. That first strike in the late game when he's dropping those cannon barrages can do quite a lot of work. So we'll just have to see. That does end up coming through here for Mookub. Ginger going to do his best to try and shut down the pirate early on here, make him walk the plank as soon as possible.
No doubt. One interesting thing we're seeing is the jungler starting on opposite sides of the jungle is little bits of trade here at level 1, but nothing too much. But the Volibear is going to go ahead and go for probably a 5 camp clear here, but the Trundle also doing the same, but Trundle's just a little bit ahead on that clear, winning the speed. I'm going to get to top lane first.
Yeah, definitely level 1. I think Trundle clears faster, but once both of these champions have all their spells, it should be pretty even. So they're going to be pretty much on par. I expect the two junglers here, especially since they're clearing towards opposite sides and won't actually run into each other. I expect them both to be sitting at a relatively similar place for the next few minutes. As you already touched on, the Nautilus is already looking pretty aggressive down here. We did also note that the Zeri's laning phase is not the best, but Fluoxetine not hesitating about going for these dredge lines early on.
Yeah, no. Trundle's actually evading that Tribrush ward here that Gangplank has put. So looking to get a gank here up in the top lane real quick.
2v1 situation. Ginger going in with the clone, lands the Q as well. Gangplank trading back extremely effectively, but it will be the first blood for Captor on the Trundle.
Yeah, very well navigated, and actually the wave was held there really well by number 2 Ginger to keep it in a place where Gangplank couldn't reset it and got the gank off really nicely. As in hindsight, you look in bot lane, the wave never was really in a way that the Volibear could gank down here. Biogamer kind of just gets to go look for empty farm in the jungle.
Yeah, absolutely. Those props to Ginger for maintaining the wave in a good place. It did cost him the flash to set up that kill as well, but certainly well worth it. I was trading a little bit onto the Nautilus now, but we've got to be respectful. He's going to have that hook back up soon.
Definitely. You know, and we're looking here in the early game. Now you're already seeing Trundle's coming back down.
Oh. Oxter has the passage. That's yeah, I kind of forgot about that. Bard, I guess, was just chilling that whole time.
Yeah, he does get his little escapes every now and then. That will be on an 18-20 second cooldown, something around there. So we'll have to back off a little bit now.
Certainly. But Jinx is not going to feel too upset about that. You know, she just wants to keep farming it out for now, for the most part, as Ginger is taking a lot of damage from the creeps here. It's a level down on the Pirate right now as well. Be careful. Already used the teleport here also on the Wukong. Both summoners down, still level 4. Gonna have to go back. It's a little bit of an awkward reset. There's a huge wave here as well, actually. Oh, Biogamer is here now. Ginger's in a really tough spot.
And Ginger's going to get chased down here, possibly? No, they're going to let him. Nope. Not going to let him go.
Well, he is going to escape, but he's going to lose that entire wave, and he is going to be 2 levels down almost on the gangplank here just after the first 5 minutes. You know, you talked a little bit about how Wukong is one of those champions that does have some early skirmishing power, but that has pretty much completely flown out the window at this point. This lane is no longer one that I think he can realistically expect to win.
No, most definitely not. Not now that the Sheen is matched. The one good thing that did come out of that, number 2 Ginger, obviously living, number 1 good thing. Number 2, though, the Dragon was immediately started by VG, and they went ahead, picked up the Hextrack Dragon. We won't see that soul today. We also won't see Ocean Soul today, so we're going to be looking at Infernal Mountain Cloud.
Yeah, definitely. Infernal, I think, would feel extremely good for both of these compositions, especially, you know, the Ari and the Jinx are just would love that extra additional little bit of burst. They benefit so much, right, from getting those resets in the fight. So any kind of extra little bit of damage that you can get to try and pick up that first kill is going to be so valuable. Here on the other side as well, you know, the Zeri and the Gangplank would benefit quite a lot from Infernal Soul, but we'll just have to wait and see. And no, jury's still out on what that dragon is actually going to look like.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of trading up here in the top lane, both Gangplank and Wukong wanting to take those. Gangplank obviously probably getting a little bit of the better based on his heals plus the first strike. I'm not sure exactly how much first strike gold he's gained already, but via your tech, I'm pretty sure it's a lot. You might have to hover over the one up on the actual scoreboard.
Yeah, like above his icon there, maybe. I'm not sure. But yeah, this game is pretty even so far. I mean, Ginger has been getting pushed in a little bit. He's definitely losing out here in top lane just in terms of farm, but it's kind of evened out by oh, actually, never mind. It's a big CS lead for Zeri down there in the bottom lane as well. So kind of CS leads across the board, but that first blood is actually what's equalizing the gold for the time being.
Most definitely. It's crazy that Zeri already has a 500 gold lead on the Jinx, and vice versa in the top lane. Still a 500 gold lead for the Gangplank. And that's only going to grow at this point.
Fan making his first roam down here to the bottom lane, but BioGamer was already in the area, and a 3v3 is not the kind of setup that we actually wanted, as Flux getting in there with the dredge line, but again, Hawkster with the passage, get his way back to the tower.
Hawkster not too worried about it, but that is going to be a blue buff steal for Bio, and probably going to be handed over to the Zillion if Hawkster doesn't have this. No, Zillion does not get it. Feels bad with how much mana he's on.
Yeah, he is extremely low. Is going to need to go back and pick up that loss. Oh, that's a dive. Loki in some trouble down here. Here comes the cannon barrage. BioGamer turns off the tower, saves his support temporarily, but Flux doesn't have a way out of this one. That is going to be the ignite that comes down. Hawkster able to finish off one kill. So they are traded 1-for-1, but a kill onto the AD carry. These things are not actually even. It's Ohio State who comes out on top in that bottom lane scrap.
You know, it's 1-on-1, but I don't know if Ohio State comes out on top, as Trundle is picking up that Rift Herald. That is at least two and a half plates there, possibly 3 plates if they can play it right. And where do you think we should be putting that Rift Herald? Maybe unlocking the Ari is probably the best play in the mid lane.
Yeah, good heads up play from Captor there to make the cross map happen and pick up that neutral objective. In terms of where we want to see the Herald go down, generally speaking, of course, mid lane is the highest priority in terms of which tower you want to destroy, right? But really, I think it's going to come down to which lane is in a good state to try and pressure for a dive, especially Looks looking for it. Can't find it, though. Bard, a little bit too slippery.
I think they're still wanting something down there in the river.
Potentially. I mean, we have 1 minute still until Dragon number 2 spawns onto the Rift. We could see the side of Ohio State just trying to maintain control over the area for that entire time. Would certainly make it more difficult for Ambition to get in there, but that would also mean no reset. And we see BioGamer did decide to go back there, so he's able to pick up Bami's Cinder as well as his Lucidity Boots, and going to be getting back out on the map. Actually, pathing up towards the top side is Hawkster with the passage down here, brings along his jungler. The Death Charge comes out, though, for the peel, and the Pillar not good enough. Not able to chase anybody down there, but no summoners expended, so relatively low-cost look there for Ambition.
That Pillar expended the Zeri's Flash, though, so Zeri will not have Flash for this upcoming Dragon fight.
I didn't see that. Good looks on that. Yeah, Blue actually did lose the Flash there on the Zeri, so that is a big cooldown secured by Ambition.
Most definitely. We're seeing the plated steel caps coming out of both top laners. Gonna be a little bit afraid of the charm CC. Gangplank not so much. Having obviously his oranges. But Captor's gonna go ahead and start that dragon, and it's just gonna go on the contested.
Yeah, we do have a teleport advantage for Ginger up here on the top side, but of course the teleports are still leashed. So would have to teleport to a tower, and that's just not really going to be the play. Dragon secured for Capture puts us at a 2-0 dragon lead, and it will be the Mountain Soul coming through. So not the Inferno, but still, of course, will be extremely valuable for either one of these squads. 2-0 in terms of early dragons, definitely going to feel pretty good for Ambition here.
Yeah, we got to be looking soon here. Captor's going to need to be dropping that Rift Herald, so they're going to be... VG's going to be looking to make a play somewhere here right soon. But Trundle's just kind of hanging around. Maybe going to use that one last recall.
Yeah, going to get one more empowered recall there from the Herald. And he did just pick up his free boots, able to upgrade those into the steel caps. Sundra are not quite completed yet. Didn't quite have the cash for that one, I suppose. As Ginger, see him going in with the Nimbus Strike, holding on to the Cyclone for now, though.
We have BioGamer hanging around down here again. I mean...
He is. He has the Stormbringer.
Everyone knows, though.
Turn off the tower again. Sitting on a ward. BioGamer getting ignited now. The passage comes through from Hawkster, trying to corral this bear in the jungle. He will ult over the wall to escape, but his bot lane collapsed up to try and help him out. The bear is gone, but the bot lane in a little bit of a tough situation now. Blue tries to escape over the wall. The mobility, it's not quite enough. The Zeri goes down. How's the rest of the fight? Look, Loki Doki, gets traded back, so both AD carries go down. Meanwhile, in the top lane, it's Ginger with the Cyclone. Used both charges already, but go back in with the Ninja Strike. Needs one more Q. Flash for it. Needs one more auto. Can't quite find it. The bone plating actually barely saved Mookub's life there. No other kills happen on the bot side. It's just a 1-for-1 in the end.
I'll be darned. A lot of Summoner spells expended there, both off of Jinx. Well, and then you had both the top laners flash, and the big thing is that...
Go back in, the Q! Oh, again, it's not quite enough. Mookub barely walks away with a sliver of health.
God, that feels so bad sometimes, that every time number 2 Ginger's just getting just so close to killing Mookub here, but nonetheless, the Rift Herald's going to go down, going to get 2 plates, but nothing else. A little bit extra value there. Still down about 600, 700 gold.
Yeah, definitely still a slight lead in favor of Ohio State, and they do have, remember, the scaling advantage as well. So gonna need to try and up the tempo a little bit. We are still sitting on that 2-dragon advantage, so do run into a brief pause. Just waiting for word on what could be the issue here. Wait and see how long this pause is going to last. Okay, looks like maybe potentially a bathroom break happening.
It seemed to be a keyboard issue, I believe, was the beginning of that statement, if I wasn't mistaken. And it seems to be being swapped out, so we'll momentarily start here again.
Gotcha, yeah.
Obviously, Ari's R button was not working, and needed that to play the game.
Yeah, that is pretty important, pretty necessary button for League of Legends. Definitely going to want the full use of that one.
Yeah, we can go ahead and take a look at the CS and gold leads here across the map, as we're just going to go ahead and sit here for a little bit. We're almost at 1,000 gold lead for the Gangplank. Reflected there, also having the 30 CS lead is primarily all of that gold lead, honestly. But you're having the 20 CS lead in the jungle. You're having 30 CS lead in the bot lane. It's representing thousands of gold just in farm that's being missed from VG side.
Yeah, absolutely. Mookub up there on the plank has been having a phenomenal laning phase. Gangplank, of course, also just kind of passively prints money. It's just the nature of the champion. So financially, he's feeling absolutely fantastic, even though he did go down for that first blood a while ago. Still doing quite well up there on the Pirate, and he's still going to be scaling extremely well. Actually, I believe he is also going for the Sunderer. We'll have to take a look here as we come out of the pause. I do believe Mookub and Ginger are both going for the Sunderer up there in the top lane. No, actually, it's the Trinity Force for the plank. So this is not the crit build, I suppose, but still going to be a lot of damage.
He's going to be a little bit tankier, but do a little bit less damage. But really, can Gangplank ever do less damage?
He'll do enough.
I'm not sure. There's no one on the enemy team that really needs to take any more damage from Gangplank than he's already willing to dish out. But
Yeah,
we go ahead. Yep.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, we see him shoving in another wave up here towards the top side. We're going to have the second Herald spawning now in less than a minute. See if anybody... Oh, that's the Cyclone in. Mukov facing another 2v1 as Captor makes his way back up here. Pillar comes down, as well as the Subjugate. And that is just going to be a very, very dead Pirate. Wants to give the kill over to the Monkey, and they are able to successfully do so. Gangplank goes down for the second time this game. Another great look from Captor.
Yeah, no, a great look. Unfortunately, tower plates are down. Not going to get a lot. Zillion's going to get caught out here, though.
Zillion is very caught out. He does have the Chrono Shift available and not actually going to be forced to use it just yet. As the pressure from the bottom lane, the Nautilus and Zeri walking up there forces the Ambition bottom lane back. The Tempered Fate onto the tower to buy a little bit of time, but it's not going to save it. The Stormbringer from BioGamer was expended there as well, just to make sure that they could claim that objective. And they are able to extend their gold lead once again by a few hundred.
Yeah, and it just seems every play that that Ohio State is coming through, and they just get a little bit of an advantage every single time, and it's just blossomed into giving them over a 1K gold lead, despite being down 2 kills.
Once again, though, we see Captor trading up here on the top side of the map, able to pick up that second Rift Herald. He knows that there's no way that his opponents can contest for this because he just saw them all in the bottom lane and he just killed the top laner. So that is a very easy objective secure for the Ambition jungler here. Now going to be resetting, rotating down. I wonder if we will decide to use this second Herald for pressure to try and secure this Mountain Soul point, or if there's some other strategy here in the works to try and take this one.
If there's another strategy... Sorry about that one, but there's another strategy I don't see a better use for other than using it for pressure to get onto that soul point. Making everyone on your team just a little bit tankier, tunes that Gangplank damage down just a little bit, that Zeri ult down just a little bit, but I don't think we're going to have time for that.
Yeah, well, Ohio State just going to go ahead and start this one up. Ambition not able to make their way into the pit. Captor is here now. That's a charm onto the Gangplank, but he has the Citrus Fruit. Tempered Fate comes out now. The Dragon is frozen in time. The Spore is already dead. Into the pit are both junglers, but it's going to go to the Bear. Now number 2, Ginger, into the back line. Gets the kill onto the enemy AD carry. Does use the Cyclone already, but Mukub running for the hills. He is not going to escape. Captor on a rampage. It's the Zillion underneath the tower. Gets cleaned up as well. Massive team fight win for VG Ambition in the bot side river.
You know what? I'll take 4 kills for not having Soul Point. Plus, you get to use that Rift Herald in the mid lane. They're going to get 2 towers out of it. Just absolutely well played by VG. Trying to go for the Dragon. That Tempered Fate came in on that Dragon and absolutely messed up all the plans of Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, Bard is one of those weird champions, right? Like, he's so hit or miss because you can basically troll your own team just as easily as you can troll your opponents. But in that particular instance, I think Hawkster's usage of the Bard ultimate was absolutely superb to confound, like you said there, Buck, the plans of Ohio State. Not able to burst down the Dragon, and Ambition was able to set up exactly how they wanted to for the fight. They made full use of that.
Yeah, you know, I was sitting there in Champ Select and I was doubting the Bard pick.
You
Definitely doubted it. And I said it has to come down to whether he's put a lot of time and practice into it. And he seems to know where to be using his Bard ultis. But not just where, but when. And, you know, for the most part, he hasn't died, which is crazy good for him into a Nautilus. Nautilus's main objective is to kill Bard in that lane. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But honestly, we didn't see the roams that I thought we would. From the Bard, even the Ahri or the Nautilus. Everyone kind of stayed in their standard lanes when it came to the supports.
Captor, he's back. He knows where his bread is buttered, and it's in top lane. Mukub, oh, he's looking pretty tasty there. Captor going to take a bite out of him. Pirate goes down for the 4th time now, as Chapanya getting aggressive down here on the Ahri as well. Not able to find the charm this time around, but I believe if Zilean is charmed, he cannot chrono shift, so potential for the one-shots there for Trapania Fan. If he's able to land those skill shots.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, Zilean does have the ultimate, but nonetheless, you don't want to have to burn it in a solo lane. So very good by Trapania Fan. Did have to burn his ultimate, but I don't believe it's on too long of a cooldown for him here.
Yeah.
Probably about 45 seconds before it's back up again.
Yeah, it's already almost half off cooldown there, so Trapania Fan not feeling too worried about that one. Gonna have 2 minutes now on Dragon number 4. Our gold lead has officially swapped sides. Ambition sitting with 2K to the advantage. That's that big team fight win and that continued pressure up there in the top lane, able to pick up those towers as well and claim a nice little advantage for themselves. Remember, once again, guys, we need this gold lead. We need this advantage. We need to be playing from ahead over here on the side of Team Ambition to try and outpace this Zilean and this Gangplank. They're going to scale up so threateningly later into this game. But we're doing pretty good for now. Breaking open the mid lane there, and we can still play for Mountain Soul, I think. There's still time. Zeri gonna get ganked here in the mid lane, but she just has too many dashes. So nothing gonna happen there.
Zeri is piecing out, as they would say. No. Nonetheless, Zeri does not have flash still, so she still has to play super, super safe, even though that is not at all what Fluxitune's doing.
No, he is not. He is getting pillared, and he is going to flash over the Chompers. He'll keep himself alive, but not running the Hex Flash. Big cooldown off of the support here. He's going to be much more vulnerable. That next pillar could spell his demise.
And that next pillar could be coming up soon. Sorry to interrupt you there, but Mountain Dragon, less than a minute.
Absolutely, yes. We do see Ohio State now moving into the river, or they were trying to. They're going to get pushed back out now. Numbers in the area for Ambition. Gangplank still up on that top side, has teleport and cannon barrage. So the question is not if, but when he will decide to join this fight. Still pushing away for now.
Yeah, and, you know, VG Ambition's getting that ward control around the dragon that is so coveted. When you're looking for these team fights, you're not going to let the volley bear find his way in. As he really just has to run in and face check the entire team of VG.
Yeah, that is the main weakness of the bear. Very low mobility. He's very slow. So you're going to see him coming, generally speaking. Yeah. But when you don't see him coming, when he's hiding in the bush, that makes things a lot more difficult as Ginger going to use the Cyclone to try and get himself out underneath the tower, but his tower will not save him, but maybe his support will. Hawkster flying in there. Oh, the binding just goes wide right there, but Trapania Fan with the teleport into the charm, but is it enough? Still numbers advantage for Ohio State, but Trapania Fan gets one. The Nautilus extremely low. They get two. Are they outplaying the 2v4? All the binding. It just goes a bit wide once again for Hawkster there, and he's going to passage away, but the Zeri has her own wall glitch, and she's going to follow him right over to the other side of the tower there. And they're going to make that a 3-for-2 up on the top side, but capture. Oh, Death Rocket make it a 3-for-3, Buck.
Yeah, 3-for-3. They got the dragon, the third, and now they're about to get the third tower in the mid lane. Going ahead. Yeah, 3-3-3.
Jin would be very angry.
Oh, shoot. That was good. But, God, I can't get over it now. The Zeri does have her one dash, goes ahead and makes some plays, gets some kills, gets a little bit of money on her. She has the Runaans. I'm not sure, but that Everfrost up in the top lane from the Zilean changed absolutely everything up there.
Man, I wish we could get a replay so we could take a look at that Everfrost. But yeah, it was definitely, I mean, I think it was a little ambitious by Ambition. Actually, that one was not intended. I swear that one was not intended. But it was a little ambitious to go for that play when you were outnumbered. You know your jungler is taking the objective on the other side of the map. You don't actually have to force that fight that hard, as that is going to be a Dredge line in for Flux. Hawkster gonna think about passaging out, but he's actually going to hang around. Binding just a little bit short once again. The Bard play started off so strong. I think we've seen a few Qs in a row go wide now for Hawkster.
And, you know, someone we haven't really talked about at all this game is Loki Dosi on this Jinx, and is just silently putting in the work on the back line. Just auto attack, and really giving them a very consistent source of damage, as Jinx does.
Yeah, Jinx very good at that, and has so much range now with the rapid fire cannon as well as the double buffs. So definitely a very powerful Loki Dosi at the moment. Biogamer gonna get spotted out here, but not going to be in too much danger.
Oh, and once again, Hawkster out here clearing the vision, has heeded the warning of Fluxetine leading the league in vision. The amount of blue wards on the map right now are not they're very far and few between, let's say it that way. Biogamer actually getting some of the wards cleared in here, probably going to get the Scuttle Crab, so a little bit of vision around Baron, a little bit of safety.
Hawkster 10 higher vision score right now, definitely good to point that one out there, Buck. Love to see our support out warding the opposition here, especially when we know him to be so proficient at getting that vision.
The only thing I look at is vision.
I mean, yeah, that's how vision works, right?
Means for life.
It's all you can see is your vision, as that is Chapanya fan going to be suffering a lot of CC here. One more dash into the blast cone, he's out of there. Easy, not close.
Yeah, gotta love Ari, man. Gotta love Ari. Biogamer's like, God, I got this pick. Flashes in. Unfortunately, just not enough damage. The double bomb didn't hit fast enough. Ari got the first ulti off, and from there it was just off to the races.
Yeah, Volibear has 1 flash, but Ari has 4 of them. It's just a little bit difficult.
And you know what? Chapanya fan was able to hold his flash through that entire thing.
That's true. He didn't even need to use all of them. He was chilling. His captor wanted some rocks there, but he will get pushed off of them. Does have his top laner hanging around here, as that is going to be a pillar coming down and a dredge line connecting, and a lot of damage and a shutdown onto Loki Dosi right out of nowhere. He was caught window shopping. See if the rest of the team can come up here to punish. Binding onto, there's the Tempered Fate, comes down onto 2 members of Ohio State. Ginger in there with the Cyclone, looking pretty good. Second activation of the Cyclone. Oh, he actually, that was it. He couldn't get any more CC down. Now a 4v3 for Ohio State. Chapanya fan dashing away, trying to stay alive. Hawkster with the passage, able to get over the wall. And the disengage is good here for Ambition, but they're forced to cede control of the river 30 seconds before their potential Mountain Soul.
Yeah, unfortunately, they are going to probably lose out on that Mountain Soul. Really sucks that Loki Dosi was backing on a ward right there.
Yeah.
Always feels bad in that situation, but really good use of the Zillion ulti from the hunt for value onto the Nautilus. Normally you don't put it onto the support, but good knowledge knowing that the support was the only one with threat of dying at that point.
Yep, definitely. Good target selection. And we'll see if Ambition is able to get back onto the map here. I think it probably would be wise to give this one up, as that is Captor going to be taking a lot of damage here. A lot of CC coming down. The pillar is very good. Going to cut off Biogamer's escape. Going to force him to Stormbringer over the pillar to stay alive. But he's running out of HP. The enemy jungler is down. Flux is running out of HP. Also, the depth charge comes out, but it's not enough. Hunt for value flashing away. But Chapanya fans on the chase. Just needs a little bit more to get that next reset. He can't quite find it. But we've got Zeri in the pit. The Tempered Fate comes out once again. Hawkster locks up the enemy AD carry. Blue pops the ultimate, tries to stay alive, but he's just not going to be able to. Loki Dosi will shut him down. Chapanya fan picks up the lead, triple kill, and Mountain Soul is in for Team Ambition.
How did they get that Mountain Soul? That is the question I have, but they just played that team fight. So that pillar was so well placed. Locking out the bear, forcing out the ultimate, and then the Wukong with the TP on the backside. Really good flank. Yeah. And now they're just going to get a free Baron and a probably that top lane tower at least right now.
Yeah, that TP was absolutely massive. It was the Trundle pillar into the Bard ultimate, into the Wukong ultimate. And there was just no way for Ohio State to recover in the team fight after that. They're able to pick up the frontliners, basically. They're able to chunk out Hunt for value extremely low, force him out of the fight early on. I didn't actually see what happened with the chrono shift there. If he actually cast it on someone, or if he actually didn't get a chance.
I believe it went on to Mookub. It was on whoever was right in front of the Dragon Pit. I did not see exactly the name of who it was because they died instantaneously.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. Definitely makes sense. But yeah, definitely Zillion not getting a whole lot of value in that last fight. As that Captor going to be throwing down another pillar here. but the carries are not in the area, so not going to be looking for any blood just yet.
Just looking for spooky hooks.
Just looking to scare them, get in their head a little bit,
Exactly. You know,
The mind
start.
games.
It's about time to start suffocating the vision, suffocating the farm down to the towers, and they're going to
Yeah.
be doing this 1-3-1. Maybe.
It does look that way, but Jinx being a 1 seems like probably not the way you would normally want to go. Maybe a
No.
4-1 is
There it
really what
goes.
we're going to be looking into here.
Well,
I
no
do
need to
like
break
this.
that in.
Yes, exactly. We already have the mid lane exposed, so we can just play on the 2 lanes where the inhibitor tower is still standing. I think that is fantastic macros. Ginger's going to go in here with the Cyclone. Cyclone 2 comes out. Doesn't have the Ignite. Does he need it? He absolutely does not. The Cannon Barrage is not nearly enough, and Ginger finds himself a very clean solo bolo in the bottom lane.
All of a sudden now Ohio State is on the back foot. They only have 4 members to answer 2 different split pushes, and I don't think that they're gonna lose towers somewhere or another. I think the play here is to rotate over to that mid inhib and just kind of push it down. But it looks like they're just gonna go ahead and take their win down in the bot lane and reset.
I think they've still got a couple of waves on Baron, and after picking off the top laner, I think you can just continue the siege if you're Team Ambition. Wukong did go back to base. I guess he was kind of low. So they only have 4 left on the map now. It's potentially a 4v4, but Gangplank back in 5 seconds has TP, but no ultimate. Top lane tier 3 does drop, and Gangplank coming back to life now. We are going to need to be going for the retreat for Team Ambition. Not able to actually destroy any of these inhibitors here, Buck.
Yeah, we're down to less than 30 seconds on that Baron power play. They're going to just get their little bit of chip damage on the inhibs and leave it at that. No extra influx of gold to Ohio State from those inhibs being down.
Ooh, Captor gonna get hooked in here by the dredge line, and his teammate has already gone for the reset. The chickens were just a step too far there. A bit of greed coming through from Captor, and he will get locked down. The shutdown given over to the Zeri. That is a little bit scary. Scary Zeri.
And it was a 700 gold shutdown nonetheless. So that's a
Yeah.
lot of influx of gold into a Zeri who's already almost 300 farm.
Already 3 items.
3 items, 300 farm, more 3s. But
Oh, man.
no, nonetheless, that will definitely see a play. I want to see when she backs if she's able to pick up another full item. I'm not sure if she will be yet, but that will
would
be
pretty
interesting
brutal.
what she gets off of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Going for the reset now. Let's see. Just a Warhammer and a longsword.
Hey,
Still
you know,
pretty good.
1450 worth of gold.
Yeah.
Definitely increases her. The Jinx on the other side does have the chain vest to kind of negate a little bit of that, but does have 3 items for herself and the ever coveted stopwatch. You're seeing 3 of those on the side of VG and 0 on the side of Ohio State.
Best item in the game, according to some, depending on who you ask, of course. But yeah, the stopwatch, definitely a very powerful tool when used correctly. As BioGamer gonna once again find a pillar nearby, and he's in some trouble. Gonna Stormbringer over the wall. Chapanya still sitting on a couple of resets, goes back in. There's some more CC onto the Nautilus. He's just gonna have to give himself up. There's no way that he's making it out of that one. Good barrel. 50% now on Chapanya. Fan forced to back away. Gale Force in. Loki Dosi finds the kill, finds the value on the enemy mid laner. Picks up 300 gold, and now only 1 inhibitor tower remains. Gonna be pushing in this bottom lane and keeping up the pressure.
And that inhibitor tower is not going to last for long here with this push coming in. But we did not see the Zillion ult come out.
It's the dive. Ginger underneath the tower, going for the Cyclone. Mook Cub gets absolutely bonked by Captor. He is going down. So is the Bear. BioGamer into the Death Chamber. Blue is still alive. This Zeri champ is supposed to be scaling, right? Where's the damage? Where's your damage,
Zeri's
Blue?
putting out a little bit, but those Qs, the Q doesn't do as much as you'd ever hope.
Also into a Mountain Soul. It's going to make it a little bit more
Yeah.
difficult, too, I suppose.
I guess we can take 2 inhibs and back off here towards a Elder Drake spawning here in the next couple seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have the second Baron just shortly after that. So potentially, we're playing it really quite safe. here for the side of Ambition, as that is going to be a nice charm onto the support, trying to punish him for walking into the jungle and trying to get that vision. Very nice from Chapanya fan, trying to keep the enemy team away. Yeah, sure playing this... yeah, I think it's gone. Oh, yeah. And so is he. Zeri just walking up there by herself was prime charm material. Chapanya fan going to capitalize on that very comfortably. Still has the resets. Another charm over the wall. Can't quite find that one, and I think he's out of dashes now here, Buck. Gonna go golden, and going just... Oh, the Bard ultimate just slightly mistimed, but he bought enough time for another charm to come off cooldown, and the dragon lasers rain down from the sky. Volibear is dead, Gangplank is dead, Zillion is dead, and it's gonna be Team Ambition taking game number 1.
They're all dead. There's blood everywhere. And
I love it. That's my favorite kind of League of Legends, the bloody kind.
The bloody kind. 27-8 is how that scoreline ended up. It did not feel that decisive in the beginning of this game.
No, absolutely not. It was quite close in the beginning. Remember, it was actually Ohio State who had a slight lead for about the first 15 minutes, but there was that big dragon fight, that one dragon that Ohio State was able to secure, but they lost 4 members afterwards. And Team Ambition, they didn't take their foot off the gas pedal after that one.
No, and I love when there is one play that can be that decisive. Some people really hate it. I tend to enjoy it because that fight was just so well played by both sides. But in the end, VG came out on top. The Bard ultimate playing really nicely into it. You had the pillar coming up, just blocking it off just slightly enough. And everything just worked out just right for VG.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the play in terms of if I enjoy it or not. But in this case, yeah, the plays were great. It was the side of VG Ambition just outfighting their opponents. Good objective control over or early on, rather, to put on the pressure, right, to make Ohio State feel like they had to walk in and contest for that one. And it seemed like a good situation for them, but Ambition was patient. And they set up for the fight beautifully with the Bard ultimate, waiting until everybody could get there. And then they went for the engage and they got the big team fight win. They got their gold lead that they needed, right? To try and outpace their opponent's scaling. They were able to find it and they were able to take home the win.
Yeah, and I'd like to put a big shout out to Captor in that game. Having the objective control, even when it felt his team was down a little bit, was on every dragon, was always responding on the other side of the map.
Yeah, definitely. Good call out there. Great cross mapping from Captor in the early game. Even when things weren't looking so great, he was still able to find value on the map, still able to make things happen for the team. And then that pillar, he was the start of the big turnaround in the team fight, right? That Trundle pillar was the beginning of the turnaround for Ambition. Love to see it from the jungler there. I think we are going to be going to a short break. Buck, do you want to throw out a vote for player of the game for game 1 here? Who do you think?
I really want to shout out Hawkster, but I'm going to give it to Captor just because of how I felt he was the one who kept his team in that game.
So was the Bard pick, did it get Hawkster closer to earning your vote, or did it actually deny him?
That Bard pick actually got him closer. The way he played the Bard, he had some really clutch ultimates in there. If I had to give out a second MVP of the game, it would be him.
Yeah, we were a little bit skeptical about the Bard pick, but he certainly came through in a big way, did Hawkster. Love to see it. We're going to be going to a quick break now, though, guys. We'll have game 2 of tonight's matchup right after this. Welcome back, guys. Nice short break for you. Now back into the Champion Select for game number 2. As the losers of game 1, Ohio State did have side selection. They opted to stay on the blue side. So we will once again be seeing VG Ambition over here on red. What kind of adaptations, Mr. Magnum, are you going to be expecting here? What kind of adjustments do you think Ohio State might be making? As we do see
the one that I enjoy the absolute most is the Bard ban. The Ari ban. Okay, we're just targeting. We're not playing the same game. The Graves and the Hecarim coming out. The Gwen's still getting banned, but those are good adaptations. Chapanyafan was getting in there with the Ari. He was not afraid to go in, and those Bard ultimates were the thing. So they've decided that the Trundle Pillar is not the issue, but they don't want the Zeri anymore. They're like, screw it, we want the Jinx.
I mean, they only get 3 bans, right? And Trundle certainly was not one of them, but they did manage to deny 3 picks from the composition that Ambition ran last game by banning away, of course, the Ari and the Bard and picking away the Jinx. So now the answer, Zeri, still available. So is the Trundle. But it's going to be the Aphelios for now in response for Loki.
And they did ban the Thresh themselves, so we won't be seeing the coveted Aphelios Thresh. But we will have to see, hypothetically, what support they're going to pick, but instead they're going to go with the high priority Xin Zhao. I do love a good Xin Zhao.
Yes, me as well. I am definitely a Xin Zhao enjoyer here. He has some pretty interesting builds floating around these days as well. So it'd be interesting to see what Capture decides to go for. If it will just be something tanky like the Gore Drinker, or if he's going to do something a little bit more carry-oriented. As the Lilia in response for BioGamer this game. So a very different look in the jungle over here for Ohio State.
And the Swain could be support, could be AD, or could be mid lane. Usually hovers towards the support role more often these days.
For sure.
But it gives you a little bit of early game priority with the E if you can find the pull right into chompers is feels almost like certain death sometimes, but the Lulu will definitely stop certain death for the Aphelios.
Yeah, Lulu gonna do a lot to prevent really any kind of death, theoretically, for the Aphelios. That could look pretty good. Hawkster definitely impressed us last game on the Bard. See if he can do it again on the Lulu. But the jungle matchup here, I do find extremely interesting. Let's talk about Xin Zhao a little bit more here, Buck, since we like him so much.
All right.
I do feel that the Xin Zhao has somewhat of a favorable matchup into the Lilia early on, right? I mean, Xin Zhao is just generally speaking a very strong early duelist. Maybe not as strong as like Volibear or Trundle, but still very good. And he does have the dash and the slow, which is going to counteract Lilia's primary advantage, which of course is mobility. So I'd like to see Capture maybe go in for some aggressive early invades, try and stifle this Lilia, prevent her from power clearing early on and getting to that level 6 mark. Because that's really, I think, where the Xin Zhao is going to have his biggest advantage, at least in the 1v1.
Yeah. Now, something I'd like to see is getting some early game vision on where that Lilia is going to be starting. Start your Xin Zhao on the same side of the map, and then go ahead 3 camp clear into, or even 2 camp buff into their buff, if the Lilia is going to be going for that full clear.
Yeah, certainly could be an option. But yeah, the getting down that early deep vision, I like that you mentioned that. That is definitely going to be extremely valuable in trying to make a play like that happen. As we remember last game, right, the junglers did actually start on opposite sides, so they would not have run into each other if either one did want to go for that aggressive early invade. So we'll have to see. Maybe we'll see some level 1 action this game, even potentially there, Buck.
Yeah, maybe some level 1 action. We are seeing them on the same sides. Ohio State did elect to stay on blue side, we should note. So seeing where they're coming, we could see VG going in through that bot lane invade path. We could see them trying to go through a top lane invade. But either way, I'd like to see them move as 5.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've got the double 80 carry composition here. They've drafted the Cork for themselves for VG ambition. The response going to be some double 80 carry action of their own over here for Ohio State, going with the Tristana mid lane, which has fallen out of favor a little bit here, Buck, but definitely could work out pretty well into something like the Corky that is not going to have a lot of early presence.
You know, I love that Tristana pick actually into the Corky. It's a good aggressive answer that's going to let the hunt for value possibly get really far ahead. So that's what we're going to be looking for, to see how the hunt for value can just abuse the Corky pick by Chapanya fan, because late game Corky's going to half health her with 1 rocket.
Yeah. The scaling, of course, on the Corky is still pretty ridiculous. He was nerfed in terms of his package timings, so he's not going to have that, of course, for every fight. Everybody probably knows that by now. It was a couple of patches ago now, I think, actually, wasn't it, Buck? Maybe the Corky nerfs are just old news.
12-3. 12-4? No, it was 12-4. No.
Was it? Oh,
no,
okay.
It was 12-3. It was 12-3.
That sounds right.
I had to sit there and I had to think about it. It was 12-3. I was like,
Yeah.
Has it hit pro play yet?
Right. But yeah, he won't be quite as powerful in terms of those early objective fights. He won't have the package for those necessarily, but the scaling on the Corky still incredibly powerful, and they do have the Aphelios as well as the Jace. Actually was locked in last pick here for Ginger. NA Jace. This is a bold choice there, Mr. Buck.
You know, Jace, everyone says he's powerful, but when he's played in NA, I always question it. No, Jace into the Orin is definitely a favorable matchup for Ginger there. He's got to get ahead early, though. Otherwise, Orin's just going to be... He's going to build his steel caps. He's going to build his Bramble Vest. I actually like Warden's Mail more than Bramble Vest, but most people will build the other one. But, you know, he's just going to build armor because he can do that into Jace and Xin Zhao.
Oh, he definitely can. He really, really can. And even like the only magic threat is going to be the Corky, and like Ornn is going to build enough HP where even Corky rockets, like Chapanya fan's going to need to land a lot of those before Ornn's really going to start feeling the hurt. Once we get to those later stages in the game, and he gets really tanky. So yeah, I think
it's definitely going to be on Aphelios to take care of that Ornn, but it might just be ignore the Ornn and fight everyone around him until he's the only one left.
Yeah, that might have to be the way to go, but Ornn can be really disruptive there with a Call of the Forge God, as well as the Searing Charge, can get those knockups. So it's going to be kind of tricky here, I think. This armor stacking Ornn could be a real problem. And Jace, you know, I feel like is really a pick where you want to lock in the Jace when you feel like you're in a situation where you can find an early punish, right? It's not like Jace necessarily scales poorly, but he's very reliant on landing those empowered shock blasts in the late game, right? To really get the most out of his damage. And I just worry that Ginger is not really going to have the opportunity to punish this mage, assassin, tank, bruiser support up there in the top side.
You know, unfortunately, the TP changes. Gonna have a leash teleport till 14. Otherwise, I would say he could punish that bot lane every single time they step up. But nonetheless, I do think that he could make some good roams to the mid lane. Hopefully pairing up with Xin Zhao to do some of those things, because he can get the shove on Orin really easy if he wants it. And if he can take advantage of those kind of roam timers, maybe look for early fights around Rift Herald or Dragon. Is especially where VG will shine.
Well, Buck, we have about 30 seconds left on our spectator delay here. Do you favor one of these compositions for game 2? If I recall correctly, you actually liked Ohio State's comp better last game, but that prediction didn't really work out for you. You want to back our Ambition boys this time around, or what are you thinking?
I'm going to back our Ambition boys this time around.
Okay.
I love the Aphelios Lulu. The Corki pick is always going to be a Corki pick. Does not matter about the package. It's just later impact. And I love the Xin Zhao Jace to possibly just prey on Mukau just like they did last game.
All right, folks. Let's see if VG Ambition has forgiven Buck for his previous prediction, and if they're going to help him go 1-1 here, or if my co-caster is going to be facing down the unfortunate 0-2. We'll be back with game 2 right after this very short break. Okay, folks, back onto the Rift for game 2. Same sides, of course, as we already mentioned. VG Ambition back on the red, and Ohio State back on the blue. Take a look at those runes and summoner spells. Hunt for value with the Hail of Blades, Tristana. Pretty interesting. Anything else jumping out at you here, Buck?
We got Orin with the Unsealed Spellbook up in the top lane.
Yeah,
a little bit of a throwback right there. Loving the first strikes coming out from Ginger and Chapanya fan. Just going to be racking up some money right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Those poke champions gonna get a lot of value, theoretically, from the first strike. You strike first a lot of the time when you have, double your opponent's range. Gonna work out pretty well. And yeah, the spellbook, I think, definitely makes a lot of sense up there for Mookub as well. The grasp isn't really gonna give you much into this with this matchup into the Jace, right? You're not really gonna be able to proc that very reliably, so go for the spellbook instead, able to rotate those summoner spells. Potentially could be pretty impactful later on.
Most definitely. You have the standard phase rush out of Lilia, just extra movement speed for fun. I feel like we saw Hawkster walk up to Hunt for Value last game doing the same exact thing.
Yeah, this is looking pretty familiar. But the Lulu, yeah.
We didn't get any of the deep vision that I was looking for to know where that Lilia is starting. Both placing rather defensive wards. Ohio State in the Pixel and VG going to be just inside their own jungle on the red side.
Yeah, right on the ramp there.
And again, both
go ahead. Yeah.
Opposite sides. Yeah. Opposite sides again. I think both junglers are just going to go for their standard clears.
Yeah, will we just see the exact same thing that we saw in that first game? I do like the. It would be nice if it was a deeper ward, right? But the ward on the ramp there for Ambition, able to spot out any potential Lilia invade. She does love taking that Raptor camp so much. It's something that you can do very easily, very quickly. So able to spot out if BioGamer does go for any kind of aggressive look towards the chickens.
Yeah, and we were talking about aggressive looks. Hunt for Value already going aggressive and taking a terrible
very aggressive.
trade for it.
He ticked over to level 2 after jumping on the level 2 Corki's head. So that timing was a little bit awkward.
Yeah, I do want to point out that both red side and blue side were both pinging Lily as red. thinking maybe Xin Zhao had invaded it, or if they were looking for their own invade. None of that is actually happening. Possibly
Well,
Xin Zhao.
where are we going for the mid gank? What is Captain looking for? He is looking for the Tristana, but Tristana has the rocket jump. Oh, the wind does not become lightning, and the hunt for value will not get knocked up by the third Talon Strike. Blue get poked out a little bit here by the Lulu. It was a decent look from Capture there in the mid lane, but not quite able to land the skill shots. Xin Zhao really only has the one skill shot, and he did land half of it, to be fair.
That is true. You know, you're looking down at the bot lane. Lulu actually surprisingly trades super well at level 2.
Yeah.
Having the E in the Q, and if you're not paying attention, it can surprise you in the damage, and it seems to have gotten the best of Blue and the team down there.
Yeah, Pick's very sneaky, right? It's technically actually a 3v2 in the bottom lane down there if you count Picks. But you know, most people don't. But she definitely made a difference in that particular trade as the pull away from the Chompers, though, actually. That's not quite the pull into the Chompers that we were looking for, but maybe Blue and Flux still warming up down here. We gotta wait to see that one work out.
You know, the pull's a tricky little thing sometimes. You're not ready for it, and you're just trying to auto-attack them, and all of a sudden, crap, I pulled them.
Just swing things, I guess.
Swing things, there we go. We are looking, both junglers are finishing up their Krugs. Opposite sides, the Dragon, minute away. We'll see if any high priorities placed on it. As last game, that was started within 30 seconds of spawn.
Okay, so once again, junglers, same priorities. BioGamer wants to make sure his bot lane is doing okay. Captor seems to care much more about the top side. Wants to try and see if he can get this Jace into a winning position. Jace sitting on a very slight CS lead right now. The wave is pushing into him, so should be able to extend that by a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's got 6 or 7 minions sitting there. Hopefully he can just push it up there a little bit. But nonetheless, just pretty much standard lanes being played out. Some decent vision down on the Dragon. Always valuing that.
That's another nice pull. Loki extremely low, getting ignited. Actually just gets taken out. The zap will finish him off, and Blue picks up the first blood. Hawkster now flashing forward. Just needs a little bit more to finish off the Jinx, but he's not going to be able to do it. 2 zaps, 2 kills for Blue.
Oh, and doesn't that feel bad? Oh, I know how that feels as the support flashing forward for the ignite kill, not getting it and going down yourself, giving Jinx that double kill and the early Noon Quiver already.
Yeah, brutal. Halfway to Zerker's Greaves there as well. Loki is sitting on those completed boots, but the power difference right now definitely very much in favor of Blue with that Noon Quiver, as you mentioned. Also picked one up for Hunt for Value there in the mid lane on the Tristana. Not able to pick up a kill for himself just yet, but still farm good enough to be able to pick up that first component of the mythic item.
Yeah,
and
pointing
like
out,
he might get a play here.
Yeah, no, I was going to look out Hawkster.
Making a play towards this top side. Oh, that's very nice. I think Mukov actually bellows breath the polymorph there. So he actually did not transform into a squirrel, which is going to feel pretty good for the Forge God, I have to imagine.
Yeah, but it feels bad for Loki Dosi that he is going to be alone. And that's going to give Dragon Prio right over to BioGamer. That's going to be Ohio State picking up the first Dragon. Mountain, not going to get 2 souls in the same souls in a row.
Yeah, absolutely right there. This is the first major thing I feel that differentiated our first game from our second game is this first Dragon going over to Ohio State this time around, as the jungler early game pathing and lane prioritization has been remarkably similar.
Yeah. Hawkster has decided that he does not want to play in bot lane, though. He did make that roam top, possibly surprising move.
That was also different. Yeah, that is true.
But going ahead and just finding out where he needs to be, but not finding any success within it.
Well, he's going to make his way back down here into the bottom lane for now. Help his AD carry try and pick up some of this CS underneath the tower, but he's going to get pulled immediately after making his way back into the bottom lane. He loses 50% of his health bar. Loki able to trade back a little bit here. This Lulu, no potions. Going to have to play very, very conservatively here, especially with how strong Blue is already on this Jinx.
Yeah, and something I was going to point out, forgot about it momentarily. We do have the Iron Spike Whip coming out from the Xin Zhao. Gonna be a Gore Drinker play.
Yeah, I mean, how do you? I feel kind of meh about the Gore Drinker this game. I mean, it's like okay into the Ornn. Like you'll probably get at least 2 with your Gore Drinker activation. That's like a decent heal, but. And yeah, to be fair, your team does need frontline, right? Lulu needs somebody to stand in front and shield and protect carries. So yeah, Captor probably just going for a little bit of a tankier build on the Xin Zhao, even though that's not my personal preference.
Personal preference aside, probably the preference of the game. Also, Chapanya fan did pick up the Cull, already a quarter of the way done with it here. Not wanting anything to do with this Tristana.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, makes a lot of sense for Corki just in general. He has the tier there as well that he's just going to be slowly stacking up while he waits to get towards his power spikes as the Herald is down to 1,500 here. It was the side of Ohio State that started this one up, but now Shelly is very confused, and it looks like she will just be secured. Oh, the flash back over the wall. BioGamer. Oh, I didn't see if he got the smite off there or not. That's the Crescent Guard going to come out from Captor. Going to be able to keep himself alive for now. Has the flash from Chapanya fan. Going to run out of HP here. Captor flashing over the wall, but it's just going to be the flash follow for the hunt for value. Buster Shot is very good to disengage from the Jace there. Saves his own life, but Loki makes his way down here towards the top side. And with a couple of auto attacks, able to pick up that kill onto the mid laner. So it will be a 2-for-1 for Ohio State, but Herald secured by Ambition.
Yeah, and almost really good play by Bio. I don't believe he did get the smite off when he flashed in there. Did get the sleep off. Definitely putting Captor in a hard position and eventually getting the kill onto him. But that Rift Herald being picked up and secured by the Xin Zhao is huge for VG out of that fight.
Yeah, absolutely. See where they decide to prioritize it this time around. I believe they did drop it in the mid lane in the previous game, if I recall correctly.
They did.
The first Herald? Yeah. We'll see if they just want to drop it here for the Corki again. I think it would make some sense, although gold on the Aphelios or on the Jace would honestly also probably feel pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jinx is so far ahead of the Aphelios in gold right now that you might just need to give him some gold to get back in the game. Necessarily verse him in the bot lane. Luckily, the farm is staying very even for the 3-kill Jinx being existent in the lane.
True. Yeah, Loki able to keep up remarkably well for being so far behind there. And Aphelios generally pretty weak in the early game as well, but I suppose Lulu may be helping out a bit with that.
Maybe just a little. But nonetheless, we do see a little bit of a differentiation in this game as the farm numbers are completely different. The bot lane's still about the same kind of differential. Unfortunately, the kills are towards the Jinx this time, but you're seeing the Corki staying up roughly 10 CS on the Tristana, but the Jace is up, obviously expected to happen. And then you also have the Xin Zhao going ahead and out-farming the Lilia.
Wow, yeah, that is a bit surprising. Captor able to out-farm BioGamers so far. I guess the Lilia has been pretty active trying to go for these neutral objectives, so not prioritizing the farm as much. That's a nice pull. There's the pull into the chompers that we were waiting for. A big take. It's not going to be the kill just yet. It's going to be 50% on Hawkstar once again as the Moonlight Vigil comes out, but only able to connect it onto the Swain there.
Good of Flexitine to block it.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks from the support there, prevents his AD carry from taking any additional damage. Getting another wave shoved in here. We are seeing some rotations come down now. As we didn't see that zap blue. It's okay. Everything's fine. Dragon is alive, as you rightly say here. And as the package, Chapanya fan with the package flies in there. With the sleep, buys enough time for BioGamer to make his way out. Does cost him the Lilia ultimate, though. He doesn't have flash either. Trying to make his way back into the river to contest for this. Might be a little bit of a tall order for the Deer, and they will just give this one up. It's going to be 1-1 now for the early Dragons. Herald should... Oh, no, Herald! Oh, Shelly! No, she didn't get the crash. No plates taken.
Lilia did come back and use Smite on Shelly. Finally got it off.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, Jace used the TP to get back to the top lane, stop any more plates from being taken by Muka. Fights happening on both sides of the map.
Yeah, that's a lot of action happening right now. Swain into the Crow Storm and the Zanyas, the stopwatch to buy a little bit more time. Walking forward now, a beautiful never move. Pulls back the AD carry. That's going to be a kill. Jinx out of mana. Blue forced to flash away, but Captor does not have the flash to follow. He does have some lightning, though, on his spear. Going to be able to take out the support. 1-for-1 down here on the bottom side, and neither top laner went down. Ginger was able to escape, but it looks like it did cost the Jace his flash up there.
That it did. And unfortunate for Zinzao, he did not have his flash to finish chasing up on blue. That's coming up right about now. But very aggressive plays around the map. No one caring where the jungler is.
Yeah, very little respect there shown by Blue and Flux to where Captor could be. Captor rightfully punishes them, moving down through the river there. Not able to finish off Blue, unfortunately, but like you said, but able to get one kill on Flux at least, make that an even fight overall.
And that's kind of been the name of the game, is even fights. We're only seeing roughly a 2K gold lead coming in from the side of Ohio State. The Drakes are now tied up. We had the one Rift Herald, and we're sitting here, but the big story right now is that there is still 5 plates on every single one of Ohio State's turrets.
Yeah, definitely the early advantage not there for Ambition this game, as that tower in the bottom lane, Tristana, so good at destroying those structures, right? They won't quite get the last plate. They will get first turret blood down here with the bot lane tier 1. And, one other thing to note here, Buck, is that the scaling is great for both sides, right? So normally, while we would say that the side of Ambition are fairly comfortable to not put on too much pressure early, just wait for Corki and Felios to get their items and look to win team fights later on, you are 280 carries against an Ornn, and there is also a Jinx who is quite fed. So late game, not necessarily your friend for Team Ambition.
No, it is not. Unfortunately, Swain will scale up, Jinx will scale up, Tristana will scale up. You don't have as much catch potential as...
All the board guard can come out here for move Cub. Crescent Guard is the response. Captor is getting very, very sleepy. He's going to flash away, try to stay alive. He actually cleansed his sleep somehow. I think he maybe took some damage, but he just ends up taking a whole lot of damage and will actually end up going down. Second death this game for the Zinzao. It actually... very interesting build there. It's actually the Stride Breaker instead of the Gore Drinker here, Buck. What do we think about that other choice?
I feel like if you're going to go for one or the other, I would choose the Gore Drinker just to be that little bit tankier. Like we were saying, you need something for a front line. Zinzao is going to have to go in and survive a little bit. I know his ultimate's very nice for that fact, but once somebody comes in there with you, such as a Lilia...
Oh, that was a big one. That one was really big.
How many items does he have again?
A 0. He has 0 items.
There we go. It's only going to get worse from here.
Hunt for value, jumping on top of a Jace with no mana, and that is a recipe for success for the Tristana. Kraken Slayer online, and Hunt for value, going to be able to find some up here in top lane. Picks up 300 gold. First death for Ginger this game. Was able to get that tower. Was able to lock down that tower rate, but hung around just a little bit too long. Was extended pretty far up in the lane there with no mana, and it does get jumped on by the small Yordle.
Yeah, we're already looking towards the next Drake here. It's going to be Hextech Drake, Hextech Soul. What are your opinions on Hextech Soul? I haven't talked to too many people on the actual Hextech Soul.
Sure.
And I mean, they have double ADC right now, so it feels pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's especially potent on compositions that have a lot of range, right? Because I think the most powerful, or at least the most underrated part of the soul is actually the slow that comes out when you do land that attack. I mean, the extra little bit of damage is nice too, of course. But the slow is really the game changer. Allows you to set up for picks that you otherwise wouldn't necessarily get. When you have so many long-range, non-committal ways to try and apply that Hextech Soul over here on the side of Team Ambition, then I think it could feel really, really good for them, definitely.
Definitely.
Also for the other side, too.
Yeah, for both sides, it would feel good. Probably a little bit more with those quirky rockets hitting, but we
Yeah.
did see Captor try and start up that Rift Herald, was pushed off there, and it was kind of a little bit of a reverse situation, but Lilia decided to prioritize the dragon over finishing that Rift Herald there.
Yeah, they did get the dragon. Number 2, Ginger. Oh man, he's a little bit far forward once again. Is that an NA Jace? Am I right there, Buck? Because that's the flash into the never move that doesn't quite connect for Flux. Panya Fan is going to be okay for now, but still, that 1 kill going over means this should be a very comfortable Herald secure for Ohio State.
Yeah, and as we were talking about objective control, I feel like we're in the exact opposite spot, -1 dragon of how we were last game. Ohio State has the 8-2 lead. They have 2 dragons. They're stacking up to that soul point. They have the 1.5K. It's been fluctuating. Gold lead, especially once Tristan takes this top tower. But it just feels like they're a little bit on the back foot for VG.
Yeah, absolutely. But remember, they were on the back foot in the early game last time around as well. So we'll just have to see if once their 2 carries get on those 2-item spikes, if they're able to find another big team fight in the river, you know, maybe game 2 really will repeat itself.
Yeah, most definitely. We're gonna have to see how all this works out. I'm interested. Captor and Hawkster just sneaking for some rocks.
Yeah, they wanted to sneak away a camp there. That will be the Swirl Seed tagging Captor, but he's able to get a good bit of distance already. He will be safe. Still early, not getting sleepy or anything like that.
Yeah, that Rift Herald cannot be used for Dragon. It's not going to last long enough for them, but they can use it to knock down mid lane here for Ohio State. I'm sure that is what their plan is. And interesting, the Chemtech or the Chemtank. God, I always mess it up with the support item. The Chemtank.
Yeah. Turbo Chem Tank? Is that what we're talking about?
That's what I'm looking for. Good Lord. Apologize. I am terrible at the game. But no, the Turbo Chem Tank coming out from the Orin versus anything like a Frostfire Gauntlet.
Yeah, definitely. That is a very interesting choice. We do see that Herald crash into the mid lane that you were just talking about there, Buck. They did do exactly that. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Loki gonna flash away from the Call of the Forge God. Mookub now on his way out. The Death Rocket grazed over Loki's shoulder there. He felt that one on the back of his neck, but he is going to be able to survive. And the rest of the team just kind of defending mid lane tier 2. Now, it did take quite a beating from Shelly just a moment ago, but it is still standing for now. Ohio State not able to finish that one off just yet, so they're still sitting at a 2K gold lead, which is pretty similar to what they had last time around. Still, could be anyone's game here, Buck.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, the Baron is the next obvious choice. We have 2 minutes on the next Drake. That would put Soul Point for Ohio State, and it would even it up for VG. So I think that's the Dragon is going to be the next big contestation point.
Yeah, definitely going to be a big moment here in this game. And it will be actually, it would be that Hextech Soul this time around that we were just talking about. So very, very potent. See if anybody is going to make good use of the Hex Gates. If we see any interesting flanks happen a little bit later on. I think the side of... Oh, that's Ginger. Oh, face checking a bush. The Buster Shot. Oh, Hunt for Value finds the solo kill up there on the top side. Ginger once again, unsuspecting, walks into a bush, and there is a small Yordo with a very big gun.
Very, very small dragon. Definitely packs a punch, but nonetheless, looking at items here, I was going to point out right before he died that Jace does have the Manamune finished. Corki has the Manamune finished, and they both have their mythics. So they definitely are going to be online, and their poke is going to hurt. Obviously, a regular rocket just did an 1/8 of Jinx's health bar, maybe a little bit more. So we are going to start seeing a little bit more poke damage just coming out, and I want to know how VG is going to be able to play around their poke.
Yeah, I do see that transform on the Manamune for Chapanya fan. Definitely going to be... and it's the AP build also, which is pretty interesting. So he's really committing to that poke style, right? I think it does make sense when you also have an Aphelios on the team. He is going to have plenty of that consistent DPS, where Corki can just focus on throwing out those rockets. is going to take a Swirl Seed into the Vision of Empire there from the Swain, but the Searing Charge not quite going to find the mark. And Corki just going to be able to Valk his way out there.
Pix coming to the rescue, shielding the rest of that burn damage.
Does he have the package? The Dragon just spawned, and Virtue Gaming not in a position to contest for this one right now. Mookub zoning everybody away, and that is just going to be an easy Hextech Soul Point, locked away by Ohio State.
He did, in fact, pick up the package while he was in base, so
They were just
we can
too
see
late.
if they're going to try and find a play, and maybe it was just that little nerf on the package that might have cost him that dragon.
Maybe it did just come off of cooldown there. Yeah, that is a possibility. And they just thought that they could stall out Ohio State long enough where Corki could make his way back towards the objective, but was not the case. Chapania fan had to go back at a very inopportune moment. It cost his squad the dragon, but that is a big old package into a bigger double kill. Blue is going to flash away and try and stay alive, but that last rocket will find its mark. And Chapania fan completely redeemed himself. Hunter Value looking for a little bit more up here on the top side. Loki will be able to keep himself safe, but that was so much damage from the Corki.
You know, the Swain's sitting there on a little bit of lower health, and you're not going to want it, but I think the hunt for value is getting caught out now, too.
He is getting hunted. The collapse is excellent here from Virtue Gaming. Aphelios Ultimate comes out, and that Tristana is going down, but so is the Lilia. Oh, man, is Ohio State just falling apart at the seams here, Mr. Magnum?
Oh, my gosh. And that's a 400 gold shutdown that goes to Aphelios off that Tristana. It's no small feat. And they're going to go ahead. They're going to get the Baron for free here, just about. And it all stems off that beginning that Corki Pate got the package to perform something.
He's not going down actually that quickly. Flux is making his way back in here, popping the Crow Storm. Mega Death Rocket comes out. Chunk is pretty good. Yeah, Chapania fan's just going to say, actually, no thanks. I liked it better when you were dead. And he is going to make sure that Swain goes back that way. Orin is going to flash into the pit. And
That's my Orin!
Oh my god, Mookub on the Ord makes it happen for Ohio State. The rest of the team completely fell apart at the stage that Mookub put everybody on his big old Forge God back, and he grabs them a Baron.
Oh, Mookub coming in clutch with the spell book. We talked about it. It's not a common thing anymore. And they didn't even think about it, I don't believe.
I didn't think about it. There's no way that they even considered that possibility that Ornn was going to flash smite the Baron. No way.
Does he get the full 900 smite out of the book?
I think so. I don't remember exactly how it works. I think he does. You have to like swap your spells like two times or 3 times or something, and then your smite transforms. I don't play Unsealed Spellbook. I don't remember exactly how it works, but I'm pretty sure it's something like that.
And no one plays it now, and we're going to start seeing the ornaments coming in as the Gale Force is upgraded. I don't remember the name of any of them anymore.
Yeah, I don't know the name of the Ornn upgrades either. I've got no idea. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, maybe production have over our turbocharged Hexperiment. Very nice, very nice. And the Typhoon. Oh, I actually think I should have known that one. Typhoon sounds familiar.
Typhoon. I like it.
I mean, there's not very many 80 carry mythics, right? So it's like, and every game there's an 80 carry every game that Ornn's in. Right?
Yeah, you'd think.
Just about anyways, as the Call of Forge Guide is going to come out. Chapania fan in some trouble. He's going to flash away, try and stay alive. The Super Mega Death Rocket will not finish him off. And Corki will survive. That's very, very important. Chapania fan has that maxed out bounty on his pretty little Corki head right now. So very important that he's able to escape there. It does cost him the flash, but certainly worth it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I don't think next time he's going to get so lucky is that Jinx is just about to finish that IE. Has all the component pieces. As soon as she backs, she will have it. Aphelios did finish the Lord Doms, so we'll be able to compete with the Orin a little bit. Does have the Fimbral Winter already, and the Warden's Mail that we talked about. I do like that he went Warden's Mail over the Bramble Dust, though.
Yeah, that is something that you mentioned earlier on. I think it's probably a good call here. Just gives you more armor, straight up, right? It gives you more resistance. It doesn't give you the grievous wounds, of course, but it just gives you more defensive capabilities.
And it reduces damage. Anyway. Nonetheless of what it does, everyone can go look it up themselves. It reduces damage.
Never move. Boxster getting chunked out a little bit here. What's got the Death Rocket? Oh, Lulu, small hitbox. Definitely doing the Lulu some favors there. Swirl Seed not going to connect. Dragon spawning 15 seconds would be Hextech Soul for Ohio State if they can pick this one up. Lulu had to go back to base and replenish the health bar. Boxster is going to be late to this fight. Mid priority is the goal right now for gaming ambition.
They are going to have to walk into that Corki, though. Not necessarily anymore, but that Corki, if they can just sit here with the Jace Corki and poke, that's a huge chunk onto the Swain.
Absolutely. It's Ohio State trying to contest to the bottom side. That is so much damage onto the Jinx. Your main carry is down to like a 3rd HP. Shock Blast comes out as well, connects onto the Lilia. It's exactly like you said there, Buck. The longer that these two teams stand here staring down in this Mexican standoff here, the better it's going to be for Virtue Gaming Ambition. See more of these skill shots raining in. Never move over the wall. Jace taking a little bit of damage here as well. Call the Forge Guy comes out. It's going to be Ohio State now going for the 5v5. Flash in for the Lilia. And the Willibye, but she gets blown up. Can't get into the Zanyas. The jungler's already taken out, but Jace traded back as well. It's just blood everywhere. People are just exploding all over the rift. Things out last alive for Virtue Gaming Ambition. Ohio State just cleaned house.
And they get the soul to boot. Baron is not up for them, but they will be able to take that bot tower, at least one of them, as their prize.
Wow, that was an explosive fight, to say the least. It was hard to even see what happened there. It all went down so fast. But eventually, you know, Ohio State figured it out. They became wise to the strategies of this poke composition. They were like, what if we actually just ran at them while Jace is split off on the side? And yeah, it turns out that worked really well. Unfortunately for BioGamer, he was not able to get off his Zonias. If he was, I think that fight would have actually looked even better for the side of Ohio State. But regardless, they're able to pick up the Hextech Soul. They're able to pick up 3 kills. And they are in a great place now in this game.
Most definitely. That Call of the Forge God almost hitting, forcing the Gale Force out of the Aphelios at the beginning of the fight was so good for them, as Aphelios no longer had a way to move.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the primary weaknesses of the champion, right? It's the lack of mobility. He did not have the flash, I believe, or he had to use it right at the beginning of that fight, perhaps. And
I believe he did use it at the beginning of that fight.
Yeah. Once those tools are down, then the Aphelios just a sitting duck. Tristana and Ornn can get right on top of him, take him out.
Yeah,
He's go ahead.
Don't go for it.
Well, I was just gonna say he went for a pretty the Gale Force, of course, is less defensive option than something like the Shield Bow, which of course would be the other choice there. But
the damage, crewman, the damage.
Of course.
After those nerfs, everyone is like the damage, but nonetheless, I mean, you need that little bit of mobility, but it comes at a cost. And unfortunately, that cost was his life. As long as with the rest of his team's life, not necessarily was all on the Aphelios. I feel like I'm putting the blame on the Aphelios. I shouldn't do that.
Right. Yeah. It's a team game. Aphelios, it's your fault that the dragon died.
God dang it, Aphelios. Yeah, right, huh? No. I did notice that I believe it...
Oh, that's another big pack. That's some court gaming. But he is going to get taken out on the backside. Tristana making this one a 1-for-1. Did expend the Buster Shot just to make sure. Just send as many cannonballs, as many shots towards that Corki in as small a time frame as possible to try and blow him up. And it was successful there for Hunt for Value, able to get that kill onto the mid laner. So 1-for-1, 4v4 on the map now, as that's Mukub. Oh, he has very much outscaled this Jace. Jace actually can no longer damage Ornn, like at all. And he is just gonna kind of die. And oh man, it was kind of ugly at the end here for Virtue Gaming. Unfortunately.
Remember that scaling we were talking about? I think it is hit.
Ah, yes. I do believe so. So that is an Ornn. You didn't even actually get to his 3rd item. And we didn't actually even get to talk about the Chem Tank Ornn very much as well. They're just going to go ahead and end the game in 30 minutes here. Definitely a strong bounce back for Ohio State. And we are going to be going to Game 3.
You know, I was impressed a lot with where they were going with how they ended up conducting some of those team fights. I didn't necessarily enjoy that around that last dragon right before the soul, they did decide to back out there and go to the mid lane, clear the wave. I don't know if that would have been the decisive factor, but forcing Ohio State to walk into them. I think Ohio State actually started the Dragon and forced the decision making onto it, pulled the Dragon out right into them, and either they had to back off and give them Dragon Prio, or they had to just sit there and fight in a Hex Deck Dragon. So very
Yeah,
good
I
from
mean,
Ohio State. Unfortunate for VG.
I mean, that's the thing about those poke compositions, right, Bug, is they're actually, just in general, they're extremely difficult to pilot and play correctly. It requires a lot of coordination and very, very precise positioning in these fights, as well as, vision being extremely important. Hawkster did a great job of winning out in the vision game in game number one, of course, but it wasn't quite enough this time around. Lulu can't really place aggressive vision as easily as something like the Bard that we saw him on before. So it just didn't really quite come together this time. I do think that Ohio State's composition was a little bit better. And sorry about your predictions there, Buck. It's
You
not
know what?
not
I
looking
should just
good on
pick
the night
if I
here.
want VG to win, I should just pick Ohio State again, right? Is that how this works?
It seems to be the trend, but hard to say for sure. Not really too certain.
Another trend I think we're going to be seeing here soon is I think we're going to get the same sides for game 3 as we did in game 1 and game 2.
Yeah.
No one feels that one side gives them a better advantage.
Yeah, we've seen both teams actually have the opportunity to choose to swap sides, and both teams now, it appears, have declined. So that is definitely very interesting. They just prefer the sides they started on, I guess, or maybe they just feel like, once you start the game on one side or start the match, excuse me, then it's like easier to just keep that momentum going if you're on the same side. I don't know. Maybe we'll have the chance to ask one of our Virtue Gaming players if they're able to come out on top here, but I think we'll probably go to a short break once again, right, Buck, as we prepare for our third and final game of the night. Don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to have the exciting conclusion of Virtue Gaming's best of 3 tonight in Victoris Week 6 right after this.
Do we fight to hold our heads up high and beat the drums to what we love? Risk the fall, or we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A soul ray of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the
Wasting no time, guys. Dropping fast and furious here into our third champion select of the night. We are seeing confirmed now these two teams once again on the same sides. Going to be Ohio State back to blue and Virtue Gaming Ambition back to red. The bans are the same as game 2. Ohio State banning away the Ari and the Bard once again. And this time it's going to be the Hecarim and the Jinx hitting the bench over here from Ambition. Aphelios' first pick since Jinx is off the table.
And looks like Loki Dosi wants the Jin into the Aphelios. No Karma Ezreal we're going to see today. I mean, the Thresh is still on the board, so is that something that you're willing to give over to OSU?
Yeah, I mean, the alternative is picking a high priority jungler. Like if you feel like the Xin Zhao is something that's really worth going for this early, maybe. Oh, they actually want the Lilia away from BioGamer. I don't think the Lilia was really the problem in that last game, but maybe you have a different take there, Buck.
Lilia made some clutch play. That flash Q ulti at the end, that final fight around the dragon,
Hmm.
really sealed the deal for them. But going off of it, I don't think Lilia made the impact early that it was necessary. And I guess they're going to elect to go with the Swain over the Thresh. They did hover the Thresh there for a little bit,
Yeah.
but opting for a little bit more damage. Acel, do it.
Or maybe
Do
this
it.
is just some comfort for Flux, perhaps. He did look pretty good on the Swain in that last game. As the ASOL was hovered for a moment there. I think got your hopes up, Magnum. Sorry about that.
Hopes were gotten up, but unfortunately, they're gonna go with a more standard pick, picking a Nocturne, I guess. But that Nocturne really defines a comp, and
Yeah,
so it's gonna be
true.
hopefully easy for VG here to start banning some of those things that want to go along with a Nocturne.
Yeah, he really does need a dive buddy, right? He needs somebody else to be going into that back line with him because Nocturne only has a one-way ticket. So if he's in there by himself, then not necessarily going to work out for him. So that is going to be the Leona locked away now for Hawkster this game. So 3 games, 3 different supports. Let's see how he looks on the Radiant Dawn.
And I like the Leona pickup because, as you said, Nocturne going in by himself right into a Leona is not going to have fun. Even with a dive buddy into a Leona is not super fun.
Yeah.
So definitely the Jin Leona, also a very strong combination in and of itself. Just a ton
Sure.
of CC and a surprising amount of damage.
Yeah, honestly, even fairly early on, Jin with the 4th shot can actually do quite a lot of work there in following up with the Leona. So it's a surprisingly potent lane, I do believe.
And it's really nice into the Swain of Phelios. You had the Lulu last game coming out from Hawkster, and it really cared about when it got hit by the Nevermore.
Mhm.
But nonetheless, Leona doesn't care. She's just going to go in on you if you try to throw your E.
Yeah, Swain is like, "Come here," and Leona's like, "Okay."
And we saw the TF and the Gangplank band here, along with the Zoe and the Corki. Heavy mid lane AP focus in the band. Zoe's been banned out every single game by Ohio State here.
True.
And they just do not want to have the late game scaling of Gangplank in the top lane or the TF to be that dive buddy for the Nocturne.
Well, Chapanya fan looking like he's going to be busting out something a little bit different here for game 3, going with the Yone. And the response from Ohio State is the Vex and the Shen. So there is that Nocturne synergy that we were looking for, Buck. Shen is a phenomenal pairing with the Nocturne. As soon as he goes in, you press Stand United on his head, and boom, you have your dive buddy. Also, Vex has the potential to follow up extremely effectively as well. So I love the way that Ohio State rounded out their composition. They are going to be a little bit light on consistent magic damage, but we're not too excessively tanky over here on the side of Virtue Gaming. And I was actually wrong. It is not the Yone mid lane because it's the Veigar mid lane instead.
Yeah, Veigar in the mid lane. I said Leona kind of messes with Nocturne, but Veigar, the baby cage, is going to do some work here. It definitely is going to stop them. They're going to have to think twice every time they're diving in. Nocturne does have the spell shield, but that's just about it.
Yeah, he
Um,
only has 1 spell shield. It does work on Event Horizon, so you can use spell shield to walk out of a Veigar cage. But if you use it for that, then you can't use it for any of Leona's 3 stuns or Jin's root or Lilia's sleep or really, any of the other spell shots that you really would like to have that for. So definitely could be a pretty difficult game for BioGamer to pilot here on the Nocturne. I think they're probably just gonna have to play for size over here on Ohio State, I would imagine. They do have the Aphelios for team fighting, but when you're up against like Veigar, Lilia, Leona, I think the side of Virtue Gaming have team fight in spades this game.
Yeah, I'm really favoring VG in this one. I really need to say Ohio State just so VG can obviously win, but I'm gonna have to. I just can't get
Predicting with
over
your
how
heart
much
or
I
your mind.
really love. I mean, I love both comps to be fair, but I really love the way the draft worked out for VG, and that they have the comp that counters Ohio State's comp, at least in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could go either way. What do we think about scaling here for this third game? Because it wasn't really significant in game number one, but it definitely came into play for game number two there when Orn became immortal. So, what do we think for this third game? Did one of these teams manage to net themselves that significant scaling advantage?
I don't think there's a significant scaling advantage. There's in different lanes, there's different scaling advantages, but
Right.
overall, both teams scale fairly well into the late game. The Nocturne will do a little bit less the longer it goes in. Yone will always catch up and be a late game monster. Shen is always super useful, taunt, ult. Uh, but nonetheless, you have all the moving pieces, and this is going to be an interesting in 5v5s because VG will always be winning the 5v5s in my mind. But if you can start finding picks in the side lanes, oh, Yone went to farm a side lane, shoot, Shen'll onto Nocturne, onto Vex. All of a sudden, Yone's out of the fight. You now have the 5v4.
Yeah, and that could potentially look a lot better over here for the side of Ohio State. So it's just going to depend on how the early mid game plays out here. If the side of Ohio State is going to be able to find those picks, like you're just mentioning there, Buck. But yeah, we've got about 1 minute left on the spectator delay here. Both of these compositions, very strong identities here for this third game, very different strengths. It's going to be really interesting and exciting to see how the rest of the series plays out. We'll be back right after this, guys. Don't miss game three. Welcome back, everyone, to Summoner's Rift for the third and final time of the night. Going to be once again, same sides all the way through. Virtue Gaming Ambition back on red, Ohio State back on the blue. And Virtue Gaming, they've seemed slightly more risk tolerant in their level ones than the side of Ohio State has been so far. Looking like that may continue as the very conservative 5-point comes out from blue side and matched.
It's going to be matched. I don't think the hunt for value is going to get poked down by Hawkster this game, though. Maybe if Hawkster starts the E, but you already see the Swain in chat pinging the Leona ult. Nonetheless, he's definitely hyper aware of it and really scared of that level 6, probably.
C Production shouting out that one stack of phenomenal evil for Chapanya fan there.
Chapanya
GG,
fan
right?
just won.
Yeah,
Yep.
that he got
over.
that extra
We're going home.
Power. Game's over.
We got the Predator Vigar. It's gonna
congratulations, Virtue Gaming Ambition. Who's your player of the series? No, I'm just kidding. Any runes or summoner spells jumping out at you here, Buck?
No, we got the standard grasp out of the Shen in the top lane. The Predator Vigar is any more standard than any other rune on Vigar.
Yeah,
so
these days.
Everybody's pretty much standard. You got the lethal tempo up on the Yone. And then Nocturne chose to go lethal temper as well.
Yeah, that's really common on Nocturne these days. Ever since they reworked the lethal tempo, it has been pretty much his go-to rune. Just feels so amazing. And it actually does mitigate somewhat, depending on the build here, of course, as well. If you go full lethality Nocturne, obviously your skill is going to be pretty bad, as that's a never move early on. Loki going to take a couple hundred damage here, forced to chug a pot early on. It is Boots 4-pot start for the Jhin, so he does have quite a lot of sustain in this lane. Going to feel pretty decent still for now. Where was I? What was I saying?
We were talking about the lethal tempo for Nocturne.
Oh yeah, it actually mitigates usually his weakness is pretty poor scaling, but lethal tempo is such a strong scaling rune that it can help to mitigate that somewhat.
No, definitely. And I can definitely see that. I know there's sometimes some people like to take Conquer versus lethal tempo, but I definitely agree that lethal tempo is that play for 99% of games.
Yeah, for sure. That's an aggressive early look from Ginger here. Gonna get that deep ward down, but BioGamer had the sweeper locked and loaded. 10 free gold. Thank you very much, Yone.
Plus the XP. Can't forget the XP.
Oh, of course.
No, nonetheless, that is just showing the early power of the Yone here, level 3. Just getting a little bit in. We do see Yone with the TP versus no TP. We have the double TP coming out from VG actually versus 0 TPs coming out from the side of Ohio State right now. So
well, Shen does technically have a teleport on his R button, but I guess you can argue that doesn't really count.
He only teleports to champions.
That is true.
That's useful.
That is true.
No.
Yeah, freaking teleport. What's the word I'm looking for? Lack of variety.
Exactly. Like, no minions, no towers. But I guess Ginger can only go to towers currently. And only his own.
We don't have to talk about that. It's fine.
Yeah, we don't talk about it.
That's going to be a nice cage coming down. Hunt for Value is locked up here. The childproof locks are on. Then he's forced to flash away. BioGamer also making his way in here. Oh, the flash into the E. Copter makes it happen. He says, watch out. He's able to pick up that first blood, but it will get traded back as Chapanya fan. That's actually a 2-for-1, though. So fantastic early look from Captor. And meanwhile, down here on the bottom side, Cleanse forced out from Blue. Loki knows he's taking a lot of damage here. He is ignited, burning down, forced to back away. Hawks are still pretty healthy here on the low. Leona, I think he wants to go back in. Does Zenith Blade come back off cooldown? He's going to show some restraint for now. Swain is also still pretty healthy.
Swain just gets to go fishing for the Nevermores, though, now. So unfortunate for all the combat summoner spells down. Only Flash is left in the pot lane.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of summoners blown. Could call in some junglers. A lot of damage onto the Jhin. Eats the Vision of Empire as well. Have to be so careful now underneath the tower. Take a little bit of poke here. Yeah, this bot lane is very tense right now. No junglers are in the area right now. Ooh. Yeah, that was close. That is going to be... I thought you told us there were no more flashes down here.
I said there's only flashes down here.
Oh, only flashes.
Only flashes. The Chapanya fan with the Predator.
Well, there's one less flash now. Vagar going to make his way down here. And that's a flash of Felios flash right into the cage. And he will get taken out. Flux needs a little bit more, and he will not find it. Loki picks up number 1, and it's going to be another 2-for-1 trade for Ambition, this time in the bot lane.
Yeah, and losing nothing in the mid lane as Captor is going ahead, picking up that farm, not going to lose a plate, not going to lose the CS gold on at least the team. And that dragon is available.
It is available. Chapanya fan able to drop another baby cage. Oh my goodness, there's just no counterplay for this Vagar. He's already 3-0 and 2 at 5.5 minutes.
All I'm saying is VG was banning their own player. They banned Vagar in both the first 2 games, but nonetheless have unleashed him here.
His unfathomable evil has been brought onto the Rift, as that is the Yone ultimate. Speaking of unfathomable evil, that one will be cleansed as the Yone does get destroyed underneath the enemy tower. Nice outplay from Mookub there. Does cost him the flash, and the ignite was really, really big there as well. Ginger thought he had the easy solo kill underneath the tower, but it was not the case.
Yeah, Captor was also up there looking a little low when he looked up there, and BioGamer also found the kill onto him, so that was a 2-for-0 up there.
Oh man, the side of Ohio State right back in it. It's 4 to 5, able to close that kill distance quite significantly after picking up those two. Neutral still on the map here. Mountain Dragon not focused by anybody just yet.
There has been a slight lack of focus. As I say that, a ping comes out from VG onto the Dragon. We'll see if that's anything that they're looking for here in the near future, as Lilia is down there, but Nocturne is going to be heading into his bot side jungle.
Both of these junglers did take over to level 6, so we have the Paranoia and the Lullaby both locked and ready to go, as well as the Stand United here for Mukub. He has a lot of priority now in this lane after picking up that kill. He's able to get the shove in now as well onto the Yone. Ginger does have the teleport to try and match, but this is a 3-man play in the bottom side. Shen goes for the Stand United, but it's not enough. Paranoia comes down now, but you've already lost your AD carry. We do trade one back, but there goes the support. Oh, Biogamer, the lethal tempo. He's doing enough damage. Now the Leona's the last one alive. It looks like a potential triple kill for the Nocturne. Meanwhile, on the top side, Ginger dashing back in with Q3. Has another one locked, finds the knock-up. Looking for a little bit more. When does Mukub have the W back taunt forward? And he gets another kill. Hawkster, meanwhile, survived. And he bought enough time for Chapanya Fan to make another roam down into the bottom lane and pick himself up yet another kill.
Did we say this game was scaling? Because I don't believe it's scaling. There's way too much action in this early game. 8 minutes in, 15 kills. And pretty evenly spread, but nonetheless, the Dragon started up here. Gonna go over. But, oh, geez, there was so much to digest right there.
There's a lot going on, for sure. They're on the Dragon now as well, so they're not giving us much time to breathe here, Buck. The Mountain Dragon is going to get focused down by Virtue Ambition. They do claim that first neutral objective.
Yeah, and a little bit later than every other game that we've seen so far. Not necessarily bad, not necessarily good. A lot coming out. Really good by roam by Chapani Fan to come down and even out that bot lane trade.
He's been down there a lot. Like, he's spending a lot of time roaming and getting kills. But you know what? I think Veigar really needs to find some time to do some reading. Don't you think, Buck?
Yes, reading.
Veigar maybe do some book reading would be good to improve his situation, as that's going to be another move onto the Loki, but that's numbers advantage for the side of Gaming Ambition. They do get a kill onto the Jhin, but in the end, they are going to once again lose out here. It's going to be yet another 2-for-1 as Flux buying as much time as he can. The never move is actually quite good. You can tell this guy's a Swain player. He was actually almost able to turn that one around, but in the end, the CC from the Leona was too much, and they will make that a 2-for-1 play. So much attention towards this bot lane.
Most definitely. The book has been read, though, for the Veigar.
Oh, that's the Ignite, and that's a dead Ginger once again. Oh, why did you use the ultimate?
It didn't go off. Anyway. He still has it.
Oh, okay. Sure. Calculated. That's the Paranoia into the mid lane, but that is the flash that Chapanya Fan still was holding on to. So he's going to be perfectly safe for now. But, of course, the Nocturne ultimate will be off cooldown well before Veigar has his flashback. So, gonna need to see some return visits here from the Nightmare. Try and stop this Veigar's reign of terror that he is looking to inflict on Nocturne's, the rest of Nocturne's team.
Most definitely. We had two birds hovering the mid lane. Neither support could find anything coming of it. Looks like the Rift Herald is the next objective. Actually, I think Shen's the next objective here.
I think he might be. He does have a nice little bounty on his head as well. He's gonna take a Swirl Seed. Has the taunt onto the Lilia, but there's the Watch Out Eep, the Lullaby, to help lock that one down. And the shutdown will be given over to number 2 Ginger on the Yone.
Yeah, really good play, really good rotations, and now Lilia's going to go ahead, get to just start up that Rift Herald basically for free. I don't think they know where the Nocturne is. Don't believe it matters, as Yone can both roam down quite easily. Got the 500 gold shutdown as well.
Yeah, really, really big swing there in favor of Virtue Ambition, able to secure themselves about a 1k gold lead. As we see Loki and Hawkster make their way back into lane down here. They are quite behind in CS. That's Yone over the wall with the Fate Sealed. Hunt for value, trying to get a fear down. I think he was able to survive with the shield there, and Ginger gets ignited once again, and once again it will cause him to die. This time the kill gonna go over to the Vex. Hunt for Value's first kill of this game 3, and Ginger is kind of striking out on these Yone engages, as that's going to be a flash away from Flux, but the Jin shots are connecting. 1, 2, 3, 4, and Hawkster able to lock that one down. Shield of Daybreak now needs another stun onto Blue. Doesn't need it, actually, as the Lilia Q did a whole lot of damage there. She doesn't even have an item yet, by the way.
Burn, baby, burn. The passive did just enough. Gonna go ahead, drop that Rift Herald bot. Just put Loki Docio a little bit farther ahead here on the Jin. Definitely gonna be able to one-shot at some point here. Not necessarily one-shot, but do a lot of damage with one shot to 4 of the 5 members on the side of Ohio State. So
yes, 4 is the exact number of members that I think Jin wants to be doing a lot of damage to, so that works out pretty nicely. Yeah. He is still pretty far behind in CS, but Ginger also up here once again looking for the fight. He will be okay for now. This Yone, I'm starting to doubt a little bit, as that's Biogamer flying in here with the Paranoia Vex ultimate. Beautifully timed. Yeah, nothing Loki could realistically do there. I mean, he tried to flash out of the Nocturne tether, but he wasn't able to get enough distance. It was just unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunately. He does pick up the Gale Force now. Would have helped him a little bit sooner.
Yeah, needed that one
sooner, but
about a second ago.
Not necessary. Aphelios also picking up the Gale Force. Probably about an even gold there. Yeah, about an even gold for the Aphelios versus. He's going to go ahead, pick up the rest of this tower, even out that gold from towers. Still a 2k gold lead in favor of VG Ambition, though.
True. Probably no small part due to Chapanya fan here in the mid lane, as he's been able to get down a whole lot of pressure. Wasn't quite able to one-shot Hunt for Value there, but it was pretty close, and he is sitting on only Everfrost right now. Ginger gonna get tagged by the Nocturne Q there. Going in for the Fear as well, but Hawkster is here for the counter engage, and that's gonna be the Flash Force off of Biogamer to get away from the Solar Flare. Hawkster, good timing to cover for his top laner, but he is on the opposite side of the map from Dragon, but I guess he didn't need to be there because Lilia just kind of took that one out all by herself.
And as soon as Nocturne showed top, Lilia definitely went right onto that Dragon, said, this is free, let's take it, keep our soul point going. Looks like we are going to have a Cloud, I believe.
Okay, Loki channeling the Curtain Call once again here. Cleanse into the Gale Force. Blue really wants to live, and he will be able to only because his top laner has a teleport that he can use on champions. So he just... Oh, Nosy with the deadly flourish. Able to get a kill, and Chapanya fan picks up another one in the jungle. Ohio State just dropping like flies. Swain gonna get picked off here as well as a double kill for Chapanya, and they're looking to take down mid-tier 1 as well.
And that is now a 6-0-3 Vigar, 600 gold bounty on his head. Just absolutely there. I wonder how many stacks of evil he has if the spectator wants
let's
to
get another
check
check-in. Another check-in on the Vagar stacks. The phenomenal evil.
When we get there, though, but he did just pick up the full Zonias. He is going to be very hard to kill coming up. Has the Lucidity boots with the Predator already back up here soon. And probably just going to continuously look to run at them with how far ahead he is.
I am a little bit unsure how I feel about the Zonia's purchase. I mean, it is obviously a good item on Vagar. It's going to allow him to play extremely aggressively with the Predator, right? And run right in there. Get out your rotation of spells, then you can go gold and you get out another rotation. It's going to feel really good. But when you're this far ahead on the Vagar, I have to imagine that building damage would be a little bit more effective, as maybe the Zonias will save him here. He's going to go golden now, but not able to get off the WQ. Does have the Everfrost, able to buy a little bit more time, and he is able to make it a 1-for-1, but still, that is a big old bounty going into Nocturne's back pocket, as Ginger now underneath his tower. He's trading. It looks like he's trading okay, but the last time I thought that, the Yone just kind of straight up died out of nowhere, and he will do that again. 1-5 now is Ginger on the Yone. Not his game up there in top lane.
Yeah, no, Muka, great job on the taunt to stop the TP coming in from number 2 Ginger down to that bot lane. Would have probably picked up that Nocturne and just made a very unfavorable trade for number 2 Ginger, putting him in a definitely in a kill situation for that Flash Ignite.
Yep. It was pretty well played by Mukub, honestly. Started walking away and gave Ginger, I think, a false sense of security. So the Yone just walked back up, and then Mukub immediately turns around, flashed onto Ignite, and you're dead.
Yeah, I don't know who said teleports on champions was stupid or dumb, but
couldn't have been one of us.
It couldn't have been one of us, but it's working a lot better with having the Ignite than it is with the TPs so far for the side of Ohio State.
Yeah, Ignite Shen getting a whole lot of work done up there, no doubt about it. So we are going to have another Hextech soul this game here, Buck. Pretty exciting stuff. It is 2 dragons to none right now in favor of Ambition. So it would be Hextech's soul point if they're able to lock this one down. Once again, we see some very nice long-range damage that they can use to proc that. So, yeah, he's going to run into a Vex in the bush. He's okay for now. The one-shot potential, I guess it's not quite there at the moment. Hunt for Value does not have the Ignite available, so just waiting for the Ignite, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he probably could. I think the Hunt for Value probably
Paranoia onto the Jin. He's going to Gale Force Flash away, which will be enough distance this time, but there's also a Shen. And he is going to taunt you, and then you're going to be dead. And now, without their Jin, they're still going to go for this 2v4. They have Chapanya Fan making his way in now. They're able to get a kill into the Nocturne. The cage comes down. Chapanya Fan gets another one. Ginger now flashing in to try and help turn this fight around. Chapanya Fan gets 2, and now it's only Mukub and Hunt for Value still alive. Mukub gets locked up by the baby cage. Hunt for Value flashing away, just barely able to make it out, but Mukub will not be so lucky. He does fall to the Lilia. Explosive not going to connect. Hunt for Value has the fear stacked up. Captor, be careful! Close one. Flash into the mist queue, into almost the death there for Captor, but he just about manages to survive. And that means he should have priority here in the river for Dragon number 3, potentially.
Yeah. And that makes 6 flashes used during that fight. Chapanya Fan, the only one not used on VG, as he did not have his up. But it does give them the prio. They did end up winning that fight. Chapanya Fan, obviously a big part of that coming in, just absolutely put it in the baby cage. Yeah.
Flying in there with the Predator. He's like, never fear, I am here. And then he kills everyone. It was great. As that's a Nocturne flying with the Paranoia. He wanted to try and get the steal, but he wasn't able to do it. I think that was the idea there. BioGamer did not go in 1v5 expecting to win. He just wanted to try and get the dragon, but was not able to accomplish that. The smite was good from Captor there, and they're able to lock up Hextech Soul Point.
And you know something I didn't notice before that dragon was even taken, the objective bounties already have coming in for Ohio State University.
Yeah, true.
They're going ahead. They're 6K down now at this point. They were 5K before that dragon fight. And, you know, at this point, it just feels like, even though that they are picking on number 2 Ginger, definitely. But everyone else on the map just seems to be super far ahead and getting there whenever they need it. The Lily is up 40 CS on this Nocturne. Has 10 stacks, now has bought them a Jais. Okay,
Ginger going in, trying to... Oh, goodness.
By Ginger.
That was like almost a one-shot. That was brutal. That was through shield bow, actually, also, as Flux going to take a lot of damage. That was the Veigar ultimate, so not going to have that one. Now Curtain Call comes out, just needs one shot onto the Swain to clean him up. Here comes number 4, expertly blocked by Mukub. So they will not be finding the kill onto the enemy support. It will just be that one member of Virtue Ambition going down there in the Yone.
Yeah, you know, we take a look at it. The Baron is definitely now the next play. We have 3 minutes till Soul Point. We see the wards are reflecting that, but you're definitely already seeing the Swain 10 vision score up on Leona. Not saying that that is going to be the game decider, but that is definitely something I'd like to see. Just more wards going down in general. There seems to be a lack of wards, per se.
Yeah, definitely. Vision going to be really important for trying to set up those picks with the Veigar and with the Jhin. So, I mean, we did tease this at the start of the series, right, Buck, that Flux is excellent at getting that vision. So it's definitely a tough matchup for Hawkster here tonight. He's not that far behind. You see a couple of control wards in the inventory now, Buck. That's going to make us pretty happy, right?
Yeah, I love it. I love seeing 3 control wards come out from VG and Vision. I'm sure they're listening to me right now and hearing that and saying, we got to get our control wards out there.
Yeah, probably. We see one in Jin's inventory now, too. They're
Perfect.
going all out for that vision now.
Even
And
the ADC
zero.
chipping in.
Check out how many control wards for Ohio State here.
You know, we're seeing
Not a single one.
Luckily, they do have a couple of those regular wards down.
They do have them some on the map already. I think. Oh yeah, just the regular wards. So I'm getting very distracted by vision. It's all your fault. As Vhagar is going to go down.
Oh.
That's going to be a couple of resets for the Vex here. Ginger teleporting in. They're able to get a kill back onto the Vex. 2 for 1 so far in favor of Ohio State. Make that 2 for 2 as the Swain does get cut down. Looked pretty good at the start there. Hunt for value, able to find a pick. But in the end, it was Virtue Gaming able to trade back, make that one pretty even.
Really good TP coming in from number 2 Ginger to turn that one around. Going ahead, and we did see pings on Baron, so we know they're thinking about it. They're willing to do it in a 3v3 situation in this case. It looks like maybe they might be starting it here. Not so much. Nocturne might walk up here though. They have no vision around it though. And that's
exactly
back to that whole point.
The other side of Ohio State that are in the dark here. Oh, that's a flash forward. Baited out the Stand United. I mean, Hawkster doesn't have Hex Flash, so he's not going to have Flash for a while, but getting the Shen ultimate at this particular moment could be actually more valuable, as that is going to be the Baron start. Still a minute on Dragon Soul. Chupanya Fan just going to drop Shelly number 2 in mid lane. She's going to be generating a little bit of pressure. Baron going down relatively quickly. That Leandri's Lilia actually does quite a lot of damage, but Mukub has spotted it out. 50% HP on the Baron. Still 50 seconds on the Dragon. Virtue Gaming Ambition will just decide to back away after getting spotted out. Curtain Call comes out now, but Mukub on the flank, looking for something to get done. Chupanya Fan a little bit too far forward. Vhagar gets caught out. Triple never move from the Swain. It sets up beautifully for a flash taunt. Mukub with a massive engage. Jin falls both of the carries taken out at the start of this fight for Gaming Ambition. They got kind of wiped off there. 4 quick kills for Ohio State, and now it's their turn to look for an objective.
They look for the objective mid. They can look for Baron. They can look for Dragon in 17 seconds, denying the soul from VG.
A little bit of indecision there you could see from Ohio State trying to decide what they wanted to go for. Swirl Seed onto 2, still holding on to the Lullaby. Lilia, still no teammates alive, no teleports available. I don't think the rest of Virtue Gaming is going to be able to get over here in time. It's probably okay to just give this Dragon up. Swirl Seed does connect onto the jungler, but not going to go for anything more. Yeah, it's just 1 Hextech Dragon. That's okay.
Very nice. They did get the objective bounty on that mid tower they took for 250, and they did just get a 500 gold objective bounty on that Dragon. Has evened up the score down to just over a 1k gold lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Those objective bounties doing a lot of work over here for Ohio State. Bringing that gold back to almost even. Like you said, just a little bit over 1,000 is the difference. I don't quite remember what it was before. Did you see the gold lead before that fight?
Before that fight, I believe it was right about 3k.
Sounds about right. So, Virtue Gaming back onto the map now. Back to Plan A. Maintaining the vision around top river here. Oh, Biogamer, though, very nice. Able to walk into the river and smite away scuttles. Just going to have that Scuttle Shrine, some guaranteed vision here for the side of Ohio State for just a little while.
And, you know, we're not going to be seeing many regular wards coming out, or stealth wards coming out.
Oh, that's a cage onto the Nocturne. Biogamer in a lot of trouble here, dropping the Paranoia, trying to turn out the lights. Get himself some space to slink away. Blue going to toss out the Moonlight Vigil, not going to connect onto anybody. Asleep now is the Nocturne and the Swain. It's a 2-man sleep for Capture. He's able to clean up the support. 5v4 on the map now. Curtain Call comes out. Not able to finish off anyone else. Is now the time for Baron. You'd have to take it over the Scuttle Shrine. Swirl Seed does not connect. So maybe just the blue buff take for now.
Yeah, no, I think they're just going to go ahead and do it. They did go ahead and stop really good by number 2 Ginger to go ahead and knock up Shen when he was ulting onto the Nocturne there. So that ult is not going to be in there for this fight.
Baron going down extremely fast here. They've got it. Smite is good for Capture once again. They've been able to secure the Baron buff on all 5. Flux just now respawning. Don't want to chase too far here. They're able to get a pick on a Mukub. Captor still posturing aggressively. And now he will take the portal back out to his own side of the jungle. They'll pick up a Baron buff. They'll pick up an extra kill. And they are now sitting once again just over that 3,000 mark in terms of gold lead.
No doubt. And that dragon is going to be spawning here 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Just going to be spawning just after Baron buff runs out, so they have the ability to use their full Baron buff before the dragon. Let's see what they can get done there and push this lead.
Yeah, Buck, what kind of formation would you like to see come out from Ambition here with this Baron play?
You know, I'm definitely into a 1-3-1 here. Having Chapanyafan on his own, somebody's going to have to answer him, and I don't think anyone can fight him by themselves. Speaking of fighting,
Flux gonna get trapped in the baby cage a little bit here, but the Nocturne comes in to try and feel for his support, but he's getting very, very sleepy once again here. The Solar Flare is good. Hawkster comes in behind, prevents the escape. It's 2 more kills going over to Ambition. Now Hawkster turns around, goes for the engage. The Zenith Blade connects. The follow-up is not quite there, and he will get cleaned up. Didn't have his Jhin or his Veigar nearby to help lock that kill down. Because they're pushing mid lane. Taunt comes in on Chapanyafan. He's taking turret aggro as well. Veigar doesn't have the Zonias, and he's going to burn down to the Ignite. So the Shen is going to go 1 for 1. I think getting a Baron buff off the map is probably worth it, but are they going to be able to hang on to the rest of the base? Blue has respawned. He's going to have some decent wave clear. Ginger now down to 50%. Another minion wave coming in, but Virtue Gaming will just back off for now.
Yeah, they're going to just go ahead, play it safe, take the jungle, probably take that top tier 2. And just secure vision, clear out anything that Ohio State might have put in there. Definitely very aggressive plays. We have the dragon starting up here in a minute. I'd like to see everyone start heading down towards there. They do have the defensive control wards down there, but nothing showing the pit, showing anywhere ahead of the pit.
Yeah. 1 minute left on Dragon. They were able to use the last dregs of their Baron buff here for Virtue Gaming to get that fast reset back to base. They should have enough time to make their way over here and carefully sweep out this vision. You have to be careful you don't get pulled by Swain from Fog or feared by Vex. Or if you're off on your own, it's susceptible to a paranoia. That could also be extremely dangerous, like potentially Yone is alone right now.
I feel like Yone is the worst potential target for the ultimate from the Nocturne, just in the fact of his mobility. He will dodge out of the fear, but if they are going to have 4 down here, this could spell disaster.
Very patient. Ginger going to potentially face check. Oh, quick reflexes there. Dodges away on the Never Move. Paranoia coming down now. Flash away from Hunt for Value, but that's going to be the engage onto Flux. He did not have the flash, and he had no way out. Once again, a 5v4 on the map for Gaming Ambition.
Also threw the Shen ult there, so they don't have that other big ultimate there either.
I mean, it was the Veigar ultimate that was used to lock down that kill, so Chapanyafan also without his ultimate for now. Hawkster gonna go over the wall here, just trying to peel the enemy jungler, but Biogamer is gonna flash into the pit, make it a 50-50. It's gonna be Jhin who picks it up in the end. Hextech still secured for the side of Virtue Gaming. They're able to get a couple of kills as well, and the side of Ohio State, they were a little bit too far behind. They hung out a little bit too long around the back of the Baron pit there. They get engaged on by this 5v5 team fighting comp from Virtue Gaming, and they get absolutely obliterated.
And beautiful smite 4th shot there from the side of Virtue Gaming just to secure that. Definitely with Biogamer coming in, wasn't even ready, did not get to hit the smite button, I don't believe. And I think that they might just be able to end here.
I think they probably can. 15 seconds on Aphelios. About the same on Vex. Nocturne spawning relatively soon. They still have a couple of minions left here. One Nexus tower has fallen. Nocturne back alive, has the paranoia. He's going to go for a last-ditch defense of the Nexus here, but they can just hit the Nexus. They can end the game, and they will do so. Virtue Gaming, 2-1, able to take it home.
And what a huge victory that ends up being for Virtue Gaming Ambition. Breaks the stalemate for 3rd and takes sole possession of it. And that is definitely where they were trying to do. They got it, and it was a hard-fought series.
It was. You could really see that these two teams were pretty close in the standings, right? It was definitely very back and forth. You know, both squads had their moments. You can really see, you know, they both had a clear idea. Both teams, especially in this 3rd game, both teams had a clear idea of what they wanted to do in game. And it was Virtue Gaming who just were able to execute a little bit better today.
Yeah, and you know, I'm sitting here and looking at the side of Virtue Gaming, what they did, that Veigar getting to roam with the Predator was crazy huge for them to keep them in the game. Number 2 Ginger unfortunately did lose a little bit. He was a little bit picked on there in the top lane, and it felt like They did pick on Moo Cub, so maybe it was a little bit worth it. But nonetheless,
Life at
I'm
the top.
picking Chapanya fan for my player that game.
Oh yeah, the Vagar was absolutely nasty. I mean, he was doing so much of the heavy lifting in the early game, actually, on the Vagar, which is not something that we usually associate with the Vagar. But my God, Chapanya fan was just everywhere, picking up kills left, right, and center with his Predator boots. He was doing so much work to get his team to lead, and he played the fights later on quite well. Also, there was that one time I'm remembering one time when he got caught out. There was like the one big fight that they lost that I think was like
Mhm.
around Baron. Like they were trying to peel off Baron or something. We're
It was
trying to
a fight in
get
the mid lane, I
yeah, it was
believe.
like around mid lane. But he was out of position like one time that I can remember. But yeah, overall, really really phenomenal game from Chapanya fan here for sure.
Yeah. So who's your player of the series?
I mean, it's tough. We were kind of leaning towards support after game one, right?
Yeah, I was
Hawk
leaning towards support.
Hawk
I
was
mean,
looking pretty
I
good on
have
the
my
card
guy in
there.
my mind. I want to know what your mind is, though.
Oh man, I mean, I often like to give it to the jungler too, just because I'm also a jungler, so I'm kind of biased. But I think I'll lean towards Chapanya fan this time. I feel like that
All
game three
right.
performance was just too pivotal. He really made it happen in the critical third game. What about you? You said
You
you had
know,
your answer.
my answer is gonna be Captor there in the jungle. I don't typically give it to the jungles, but that the Trundle plays there in the first game come through. The Zinzao plays were all right. There was some there, and it was kind of shaky in there. But he really brought it back with some of those Lilia sleeps were really huge in some of those team fights. We didn't
Yeah.
talk about them much, but they definitely happened, and they definitely helped win that game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Captor. I mean, really, everybody on Virtue Gaming here had a great game three. Definitely. Yeah, I love the support for the jungler there. It warms my heart. Fantastic stuff there.
Hockster, shout out to you though, because that was some real good Leona play. I felt
Mhm.
bad that none of your ultimates connected because they always flashed out of them.
Hey, that's still worth every time, though. You definitely take those as the Leona.
Yeah, no, it's like, dang it, no kill, but I guess I get their flash. You
I don't
get the
know if we
kills
could
later.
get somebody in here for an interview. Are you guys looking to do something like that here? We hadn't talked about that yet or anything. I don't know if that's common here for the Virtue Gaming stream to do interviews afterwards.
Um,
Maybe we'll wait on word from production, see what they want to do over there. But we'll wait and see here. It's definitely was an entertaining game to watch, especially that last one. With the two contrasting team compositions and how we
mhm.
saw them play out together. I really feel like at the end there, I mean, you can't really blame them, right? Because Ohio State really wanted to deny that Hextech Soul from coming through. It's going to make the game so much more difficult when your opponents have that permanent buff. But they kind of played, I think, exactly into what Virtue Gaming wanted to do right at the end there, right? They
Yo,
all stacked up together as a group for the 5v5 right behind the Baron pit, and Leona and Yone hop over the wall and just start killing people. It was,
yeah.
it was,
Unfortunately, Swain just ended up getting caught there after the Nocturne ulted in, and then
mhm.
just went right back out. And the Shen ulti was used in that fight there.
Yeah.
There was nothing else for them to do.
Oh, we just had Hawk in here for a second, but he then immediately left. So maybe he'll come back. I hope so.
Well, Hawk doesn't
That'd be
like us, so I mean, it is what it is. Oh yeah, we can go ahead and pull Reborn in here. We pull him in here. I have that power.
Hello.
Perfect.
Congratulations on your 2-1 victory. How are you feeling, Reborn?
I'm feeling good, pretty good, thank you. I'm sorry you guys didn't have permissions in this Discord, but I'm here now.
It's all
Yeah, no
good.
problem. Happy to
That
have you
Vygar
here.
game, man.
Man, yeah, that Vigar game was definitely something else. But let's start at the beginning, shall we? Game number one. You were on the Ari, I believe, if I'm recalling that correctly, and we were kind of talking about how your opponents, Ohio State, were definitely with a lot of scaling that game. I believe they had like Zillion and maybe Orn, just a lot of scaling picks, and you guys had a lot of pick. going with the Ari, the recently reworked Ari. So, first of all, first part of the question, what are your thoughts on the new Ari? How do you feel about the champion now? And what was kind of the game plan as you guys were going into the match tonight? Was this draft something that you kind of had planned, or was this something that you just adapted to on the fly?
So this first draft, well, first off, on the Ari point, after the rework, the champion, I believe, is not strong. I think everybody else also believes it's not strong, and the solo queue win rates reflect that. So it's a really strong champion. It's definitely worth picking now. Whereas before, she was eventually turned into a charm bot, and she never like excelled at anything. Whereas now she has really solid pick like she did before, but she also has really good team fights with her
Mhm.
ultimate reset. So I think the new Ari is really strong. My teammates also believe that, and again, just it seems around the world that a lot of people think that Ari is a really strong champion now. In terms of this draft, I'm not gonna say it's unexpected, just because there's like so many like solid like mid lane mages you can pick. So for me, like you can't ban them all. If someone wants to ban Ari and they ban Ari, we pick a different one. It's not that big of a deal. Um, but this draft specifically is a bit interesting just because they gave us Bard. Our support is a Bard OTP, and I feel confident
Mm.
saying that because if you go look at his OP2G, it's literally all he plays. So when you leave the guy Bard, he kind of wants to pick Bard, and we don't hear the end of it. But on top of that, he's a good Bard. He played very well that game. It's a champion knows his limits on. But just because of that, because of the fact that he's a Bard OTP who basically never get it, we just don't really expect it. So getting the Bard in this draft, we were okay with it. We thought it was okay, and then we just played the rest of the draft around the Bard pick and tried to just draft or champions that we thought were strong into what they played. So Jinx is a strong champion right now. Trundle does very well into Volibear, and the Wukong does pretty well into their entire team. They don't do a ton of magic damage, only magic damage is Zillion, and a bit of Zeri, just because she's decently hybrid damage. So Wukong gets really tanky with his passive and basically becomes unkillable, and then he also kills people because it's Wukong. He's scary. Really, the only default pick we had was Ari, which is just because again, there's so many mages you can just slot in and out of a comp right now. It's not like a too special of a pick. So
Yeah, I mean, the Bard priority, I think, is definitely something that us on the caster desk had us here scratching our heads a little bit. Like, what is this early Bard pick? But
Should
I
have
think
looked at
we
the
were we were
OP.
silenced very quickly once we saw the gameplay. It's absolutely an exquisite performance on the Bard. Buck, you want to get
No,
in
I'm
there?
I'm definitely always worried whenever a Bard is picked up. I definitely should have looked at Hawk's OP.GG a little bit closer than just a brief glance. Noticed he was that Bard one trick pony, but he definitely proved me wrong and impressed me with the Bard pick and his ability. The Trundle pillars were coming in great. You were super aggressive with those with the Ari ult, and I loved it. Just going past abilities right into their faces and hitting the charms.
Yeah, lots of good picks, definitely. Was there a point in that first game where you guys feel like you had enough momentum, where you were pretty confident that you were going to be able to close it out and look towards the second game there?
so there, from my personal perspective, there was never a point where I felt behind. I always felt I was like ahead and had the ability to do what I wanted on the map. Um, so for me personally, there was never anything like I was never worried. Like if I felt strong, felt also like the rest of the team was also going to be strong. I don't think there was any breakout play. At least off the top, I can't remember. There was nothing like there was no like super huge 5-man Bard ultimate into like a team wipe into Dragon Soul into Baron or something like that. There's never anything like that. But I always felt pretty confident that we were ahead for at least the majority of the game, and that it was going to be a pretty easy win. Especially when we did have a Dragon Soul lead, which is to be expected because they picked so many champions that are effectively toddlers for the first 20 minutes of the game. So there was definitely like as we got to like the middle stage of the game, I felt we were gonna be able to close out the game pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely remember one fight in particular. It was actually after the third dragon, I believe, the
Third
one
dragon.
dragon that they were able to get, where you guys killed four of them afterwards and were able to take the gold lead. And that's for me, that's definitely where the game turned around. I don't know if we could say that it's actually over at that point, but that was definitely a big moment for you guys. You had a lot of good moments in that game, though.
Hmm. Oh,
Yeah,
I
Buck.
definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. I don't have anything necessarily for the rest of game one, but let's go into game
Mhm.
two a little bit. Uh, it was the loss. It was a loss. How'd you feel? How'd you feel about draft after that one?
I think draft was fine. Um, looking at it, we weren't. This is about how we expected it to go for the most part. I mean, so there was. I can't say there was like no surprises because who the hell plays support Swain? You know what I mean?
Oh
um,
man.
but like we had a game plan with Corky Jace at 2 items. We had Aphelios for um, late game security. Lulu is just a bonkers champion right now, but also pairs really well with Aphelios and Zunzao. And Zunzao is kind of there to potentially try to carry the momentum throughout the early to mid game. Lilia's kind of a just sit back and farm jungler, so Zunzao kind of gets to do whatever he wants for the most part. We made a lot of oopsies around the game, and a lot of it was around bot lane, just because again, who the hell plays Swain? um,
Yeah, the Swain was kind
I
of
so
scary.
agree.
yeah, we made a couple oopsies. Lucky for me, their mid laner picked Tristana and then didn't do anything to me the entire game. So I kind of got the 2 items all hunky dory, but the rest of my team was not having so much fun. And I think you saw several moments where the funny quirky build kind of kept us in the game. But I
Yep.
definitely
Oh
didn't play
yeah, those
perfectly.
rabbits.
I made some mistakes, and I think overall I didn't like solo lose the game, but I probably could
No.
have dragged out the game a little bit longer if I played better. Um, so no, I mean draft was pretty standard except for the Swain pick, and I think in
Mhm.
game 3 we made a pretty solid adaptation to it, assuming they were
Yeah.
going to pick it again, and they did. So other than that, I think we just played poorly. That's all there is to it.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the transition now, especially seeing that Swain come in once again, getting locked in again here for this third game. What was the team mental like, and how did you guys rally for the third game here?
Well, so little shade being thrown. Their top laner question marked us after the Baron seal in game 2, and so the boys were not happy about that. Um,
It
so
became personal.
yeah, everybody kind of put on their A game, and
Hmm.
we tinkered around a little bit in between games. Just talked about it. We assumed that if that they were going to pick Thresh, actually, because we made an adaptation of the draft. We banned the Jinx instead of the Thresh. But he opted for the Swain again, which I can't blame him for, because again, who the hell plays Swain? And he won on it, so it's one of
Mhm.
those things where he can abuse the fact that we don't know how Swain works. Um, but we made the adaptation. We took the Leona and we just tried to just check him, and it was like, okay, we'll just fight you on repeat and hope we kill you. And I think that we did a good job of that. At least in the early parts of the game, there were a lot of oopsies that were definitely my bad in the middle parts of the game that made things like a little shaky. But I think that we did, in specifically in the third game, we did a really nice job of shutting down the Swain and not letting him get to a super scary status.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Hawkstra honestly just had a phenomenal series. He was great in all three games, I thought. Uh,
Oh,
Buck, you got
definitely.
anything else here?
You know, that Predator Vigar you were roaming, you were making plays super early and got super far ahead for your team. And how did that feel with that momentum and carrying that forward?
I definitely let it like get to my head a little bit. Like I said, there was a lot of mid game oopsies that were like vocally my fault. But
Okay.
I mean, a large part of it is they picked Vex. Vex can't really do anything to me, so I was okay to just play the Vigar and scale up. Even though things are kind of scary because they had a Death Ball Shen Nocturne, they could kind of just two
Mhm.
man me whenever they wanted. They didn't really do that all that much, but specifically in the early game, the Vex didn't do anything. She took a lot of bad trades. And that you saw that left me a lot of time to just kind
Mhm.
of walk around the map and do whatever I wanted, which against a Vigar should be pretty illegal. There are very few
Yeah.
champions that Vigar has the ability to just kind of walk and do whatever he wants without losing something. But a lot of this game, I was able to get the wave in, so I didn't lose anything. Walk over and just kill someone. I walked bot lane twice, killed their support. Their Felios flashed into my cage one time. That was funny.
I remember that one.
Um,
Yep.
Yeah.
Did happen.
so yeah, I think a lot of the game was just I got to do whatever I wanted on the Vigar, and I was accelerated. I had my Everfrost boots at like 9 minutes or something like that.
Mhm.
And Vigar only gets scarier the later the game goes. So if you get him to late game faster, he's still pretty equally scary. And even saw at some point I got 2v1 by the Vex Nocturne, and I was still able to take the Vex with me as I fell to the grave. So
Mm.
Yep.
yeah, it was just like I said, I was able to get out of lane, get accelerated, and I didn't lose anything for it, which was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I must
Excellent
say,
performance. Oh, go ahead,
yep.
Buck.
I was just going to say one last thing before I shoot it over to you, that you guys drafted around their comp beautifully in that last game. I loved that draft for you
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah, great stuff and superb Vagar play there as well. You really were able to snowball extremely effectively. Something that I think I mentioned already. It's obviously not usually considered one of Vagar's strengths is his early game assassination potential, but you were definitely making it work, no doubt about it. I got one more question for you here. Just kind of looking forward now. towards the rest of the season. With tonight's win, I believe you guys have put yourselves up at 4-1 now, if I'm not mistaken, above the standings now over the Ohio State. So looking towards playoffs now, I think you have 3 weeks of regular season play still to go. What is sort of the team's overall goals, and what's kind of your plan here? What are your plans to finish out the season?
For this league specifically, we think that we are most definitely a top 3 team. I think this game proves that, considering Ohio State was our main competition. So looking forward, we're just going to try to play our games, get better, and shape up for playoffs, because the undoubted top 2 teams in our league are pretty terrifying. So we're not shaking in our boots or anything like that, but we do definitely understand that going forward, if we want a shot at winning, we do have to play better. But we have a couple weeks to try to get back in the rhythm of things and try to take it to the top teams.
Absolutely. I think that's going to do it from me. Buck, you got anything else for our player of the series here?
No, I don't think I got anything else for you. Great games. Great talking to you. Thanks for all the insight you gave us.
Yeah,
No.
absolutely. Congratulations again, Japania fan. Thanks for stopping by. If you want to throw any shout outs out there, you got any words for Twitch chat? Now's the time.
I do want to just say thank you too for casting. It's a pleasure. I didn't get to catch a lot of the games, but I do always like to go back and watch them. So quick thank you to you guys. Quick thank you to Benji and Sly for the amount of work they put into, getting they run basically 3 teams, a couple times a week, and it's not easy. Also not easy on their wallets. So thank you to them. I really appreciate it. It makes me enjoy putting my time towards this project. And I don't think he's here tonight because he was pretty tired earlier. But my boy Rick is Ambition's #1 cheerleader, so I'm a bit sad he's not in chat tonight. But he'll appreciate the shout out. I try to shout him out in draft whenever I can.
He'll probably come back and watch the VOD later too, so it'll all work out in the end, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Congratulations again, and thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, that's going to do it from us here at Virtue Gaming tonight, guys. Do we know when the next scheduled match is by any chance? There's a schedule here somewhere. Official
Is
streams.
a week from now.
Week from now, eh? Well, it looks
Week
like,
from now.
unfortunately, folks, sounds like there might be a little bit of a break before you get some more Virtue Gaming.live, Twitch.tv content here. But never fear, we will have the continuation of the glorious adventures of Virtue Gaming Ambition next week as they make their push towards playoffs after an excellent 2-1 series tonight. It's very entertaining stuff. But yeah, that's going to do it from us. Thank you from myself, from Buck here, from the entire production team over here at Virtue Gaming. Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you. Take care and have a great night.